And last boy, but you can see Wild Turtle takes a chunk there from PYL. He's going to try and farm up. Death Sentence does connect, and last boy goes in. That's an early flash away from PYL. Sia's going to connect. There's that 2-second stun. Imp is going to throw out
really early teleports.
That's double teleport.
Yeah, they're going to go in now. Now PYL's getting a move back. Dyrus moving in. First blood to TSM. What gets enough? Godby exhausted, going to be chased down. LGD though, they've already lost one. Last one. It's going to go in. 2 kills for TSM, but Imp gets the trade kill. How much can he get back? Wild Turtle now, maybe the next one.
Not over yet. We do see him trying to chase. Wild Turtle going to get some heal from that Harvester of Sorrows. 2-1 in the first fight. That's Jin's head. And the rest of RNG saying, yes, Mr. Uzi, we will do our best. Let's see if MLXG can deliver. As it stands, G2 are 3-1 up in kills. They've got a 500 gold lead. And Hyanan has been the recipient of both of those Lantern kills. If you look at the item differences as well, Perks has got himself the Luden's Echo, and here comes MLXG. He's still got that Rift Herald, but Ming's Death Sentence goes wide. The box goes down, Uzi jumps in. Here comes MLXG. Defensive flashes. Yankos has already killed Ming. Now Yankos is turning it back around. Defensive flash from Uzi. Teleport's coming down. Not just to find out. Perks blows up RNG, and G2 win the fight.
It ends up being a 3-0 in favor of G2. It's the shield from Jenna to try and win the trades.
Taking away for Goong, remember, he got caught out again. Is it going to be enough damage? Yes, it is, absolutely. Goong can do one more shot, he will go down. Watch managed to pick him off to make it an even trade. The kill, of course, went to Watch in there, but the save had to come down. He did miss out on a lot of CS in that top lane.
Goong had some great dodges right there. He was able to juke enough. He was gonna live, but Watch kicks over going to secure his death and the trade.
Oh, it's not over yet. Yeah, Watch is still in there. We see that Loveling is sitting around the side. He's going to face check in.
Flanking in.
Watch gets the vision. Teleport comes around. The slow on Watch. In comes going around the side.
Standard lanes, Imp and PYL, they've done it before. It's not very often, but they're just going to play straight up 2v2 and try and honestly just outclass TSM's bottom.
A lot of respect from both Wild Turtle and Last Boy, but you can see Wild Turtle takes a chunk there from PYL. He's going to try and farm up. Death Sentence does connect, and Last Boy goes in. That's an early flash away from PYL. Sia's going to connect. There's that 2-second stun. Imp is going to throw out
really early teleports.
That's double teleport.
Yeah, they're going to go in now. Now PYL's getting a move back. Dyrus moving in. First blood to TSM. What gets enough? Godby exhausted, going to be chased down. LGD though, they've already lost one. Last one. It's going to go in. 2 kills for TSM, but Imp gets the trade kill. How much can he get back? Wild Turtle now, maybe the next one.
Not over yet. We do see him trying to chase. Wild Turtle going to get some heal from that Harvester of Sorrows. 2-1 in the first fight. That's Jin's head. And the rest of RNG saying, yes, Mr. Uzi, we will do our best. Let's see if MLXG can deliver. As it stands, G2 are 3-1 up in kills. They've got a 500 gold lead. And Hyanan has been the recipient of both of those Lantern kills. If you look at the item differences as well, Perks has got himself the Luden's Echo, and here comes MLXG. He's still got that Rift Herald, but Ming's Death Sentence goes wide. The box goes down, Uzi jumps in. Here comes MLXG. Defensive flashes. Yankos has already killed Ming. Now Yankos is turning it back around. Defensive flash from Uzi. Teleport's coming down. Not just to find out. Perks blows up RNG, and G2 win the fight.
It ends up being a 3-0 in favor of G2. It's the shield from Jenna to try and win the trades.
Hello. I'm always available. They're claiming you're muted. Happens to me all the time.
There we go. Okay. Hi, everyone.
There we go.
Yes. Good. We're VOD reviewing we're VOD reviewing 100 Thieves today. And I have 100 TalkPod's Cole, who is going to be telling us why 100 Thieves will win worlds. Yes. So for those of you who are not familiar, 100 TalkPod is the 100 Thieves fan podcast. So generally speaking, if you want to hear people complain about / cheer for 100 Thieves, you tune in. Do you guys mostly do Tuesdays or?
We're Monday nights around 8:30.
Okay.
Pretty much every week, and then in the off season we do maybe every other week, and we'll do interviews with staff and like little, I don't know, thematic episodes as well, where we'll just look at like something really specific or something really fun and stupid. But yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. This is a little bit different because I don't know, my reviews tend to trend towards this weird feeling of negativity, and so I brought someone to counterbalance my as my chat has called the shittium with the hopium. And sorry, Cole, I do swear on this show.
Well, yeah, you're putting me in the tough position. You're saying like, hey, my stream trends toward negativity. Let's bring this guy on and have him explain why this NA team, who just won LCS for the first time ever, is going to win worlds. Go for it. Be positive.
Yeah, it's fun. But yeah, that's kind of where we are. But you are going to pick some VODs for me to watch. But first, give me your elevator pitch on why 100 Thieves is going to do better at Worlds, at least, than previous NA representatives.
I'm gonna go all in with the winning worlds thing, Kelsey. That's the task I've been given.
Got it. Okay,
That's the task I'm gonna tackle. Okay. Here's the deal with 100 Thieves. So a lot of the public perception of 100 Thieves has been decided by what happened at the end of their first season in 2018, and then what happened the following season in 2019, and then people kind of stopped checking for them unless you're like a big LCS fan, right? The team made worlds in their first season, and then some roster moves along the way led to a team that wasn't as stable and wasn't as comfortable in any way. It's an NA team at Worlds, right? So they didn't do well. Not to mention their group had the 2 Worlds finalists in it. So it kind of became a meme because the following season, the team didn't do very well and things just got worse basically into 2020. And so I think like there's a lot of that public perception still in people's minds. And when you combine that with the fact that the team is operating in NA, I'm not sure everybody's got 100 Thieves in their list of top 5 teams at Worlds. But the thing is, the team went through an entirely like huge, pretty comprehensive rebuild at the beginning of 2021. They got rid of everybody except for Someday, who everybody will know. And they basically brought in 4 out of 5 pieces of a mid-tier NA team that was showing promise in Golden Guardians at the time. So they brought in Closer and Jungle. They brought in Demonte in mid, FBI in bot, and Who He Is support, and he had role swap from mid. And then at the end, the team like started out okay in spring 2021, and then things kind of fell apart. The wheels fell off, and it was clear that this wasn't the team that was going to get us to Worlds. So in the spring to summer off season, there was a huge push by 100 Thieves to make an overhaul, and the opportunity to get Abadaga came up, and the opportunity to get Reaper came up. So bringing in a new coach, very decorated coach, the opinion of him very high in NA, especially with what he had done with Cloud9, and then Abadaga, who was coming out of the LEC, and a jungler, or I'm sorry, a mid laner who had had like that great run with Schalke, and then Schalke was kind of falling apart. So I think there was just like the opportunity to pick him up with everything that Schalke was going for, and that was really fortunate for us. We immediately had success. So beginning summer 2021 started off incredibly strong. Showed dominance like very early in our beginning of the summer run. We were winning like 90% of the games basically. And then again, the team went through some trouble. And I think it was kind of just a meta shift that we couldn't really get our legs underneath us after, and maybe some I'm not sure what the team's best look is questions that that the team was going through. So the arc of summer 2021 was, an early favorite to be a title contender, then a lot of question marks around the team. So by the time playoffs rolled around, people actually kind of rated the team as maybe fourth strongest team or maybe fifth strongest team in NA even. And the expectations weren't that high. But the team found its strength, it found its legs, and had an actually incredibly dominant run through the LCS playoffs. The series scores are not totally indicative of how dominant they were. And you look at like the EG series, which on paper, if you didn't actually watch it, it looked pretty close. But if you go back and watch, it was actually like 4 very dominant games that they played. One game that they actually lost, and then the other's like the most incredible play in LCS history, stole one from 100 Thieves, right? So, and then there's a series lost to Team Liquid when Liquid was really peaking. That was closer than it looked on paper. But then the team like went down to losers. They played C9 and they played Team Liquid. Both of those teams seeming to just be in like, close to top form as far as summer 2021 is concerned. And that's where like the NA hopium is coming from, I think, because then 100 Thieves just turned it on and absolutely smashed both teams. And again, so, I think they dropped a game to C9, but it wasn't actually like that close. And then Team Liquid got swept in the finals, which was awesome because that's the team that beat them in finals in their very first split in NA. So like the full arc was complete with this team. And again, the dominance that the team showed in doing this, it's like peaking at the right time. It wasn't a challenge in the finals. And the questions that people had about the team, whether it's can this team convert like an early game lead and actually successfully like snowball a game, or is someday a top lane like just washed up and he can't do it anymore? All these kind of questions were answered in the process. There's an argument for, I would say, like 4 out of 5 of the players on there on the 100 Thieves roster. There's an argument for them being, top 2 in the league. So that's a pretty rare assemblage of talent as far as NA is concerned. And just hitting that stride with a team that has a lot of experience together has been a big deal. And I think that if you're looking like for the NA hopium, it's really on like timing. It's really on the emotional heart of this team. And there's a lot there. There honestly is a lot there. When it comes to NA and Worlds, there's so much baggage, like there's who's going to take an NA team to perform well. But the fact is, this team has already overcome the baggage of 100 Thieves as an organization, right? A lot of people see not just us fans, but a lot of people see the LCS team as kind of like representational of the org as a whole. You know, it's like, this is just a hoodie org. They're never going to win anything. They're fun to watch. They've got cool graphics, cool creators, but they're not actually going to like win serious esports. And this team came in and got rid of all of that baggage from before. So if there's ever a team from LCS that's going to be prepared to shed the baggage of LCS, this is it. And I'm excited.
All right, that definitely fit the brief. So I think that was a lot of narrative, okay? You know, just setting the expectation here. But now we're gonna get into some actual gameplay to see, you know, where everyone stands up. So
fair enough.
For sure. But you have provided already, you came prepared. You've got a list of videos. So we can however you want this to go, we can kind of start with how do you want to structure this? Do you want to go with the videos where we see the flaws first and then polish into a nice diamond? Or do you want to go with, this is the quintessential 100 Thieves, and then deconstruct them from there?
So I should say I'm not going to be able to be on your full VOD review because I have to leave early. I've actually got a kid with me in the room right now. So let's start with the good. Let's start with a good game, and then the second game, let's do like a not good game so I can kind of give both sides before I have to run out. But I would suggest that we go to the finals versus Team Liquid game 1.
Okay.
That's what my suggestion would be. And if you don't mind, for just give me 30 seconds, I'm going to get this kid back to bed, and then I will be right back.
Okay, so while he is attending to actual responsibilities, unlike me, who is awake at 4 a.m. watching video games, we will look into what goes on in this 100 Thieves versus Team Liquid draft. I'll just kind of catch us up here.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
No worries. We are screen sharing on Discord so that you can be on the same page as me. And then we're going here. Also, I did debrief you on the Evoke playlist word, and you were giving me a little too complicated words. Just think like, you know, you have small children, right? Like what? Think of Evoke's playlist generator as like a 2-year-old, you know? Yeah.
Well, look, I'll give you, this is what my third or fourth try or something like this, but yeah, that was a 2-year-old that was just in here. She knows the word hype. Can we try hype?
That is definitely one that exists. So
all right,
I know from experience.
Let's do this.
Okay. However, I'm very opposed to dubstep personally, so if we get there, it could be scary.
I get that.
All right, we are now listening to the hype playlist. I and my viewers can listen to it. Unfortunately for you, this is the curse of picking the song. You don't actually get to listen to it. So
I'm not responsible for my actions. I like this.
So yeah, okay. We're gonna look at the draft now, because I know you and I have talked a little bit about drafts on 100 Thieves in the past. So what are your thoughts on the current form of 100 Thieves drafting?
So this was actually like a pretty big deal for us in playoffs this year, because towards the end of the regular season, it was looking like we're not picking to our strengths. We're doing the same thing over and over again. And fans always want put someday on a carry regardless of the circumstances, just because they love him so much, whether or not that's actually a good decision. You know, so there's lots of like, and plus for idiots like us, which by the way I should mention to your viewers who are way more intelligent about the game than I'm like an idiot when it actually comes to League of Legends. But draft always seems to be like the first place where you can blame things when you're doing your retroactive analysis or whatever. But when it came to playoffs, it honestly felt like, I don't know, maybe 9 out of 10 games we were winning draft, or we were drafting like something that felt strong for us, which was so unusual. And something I do is during, playoff series, right when the game starts, I'll run like a 5-minute poll that's like, how is everybody feeling about the draft? Do we win or lose? And, fans, usually it's like, no matter what happened, 3/4 of the fans think we lost draft. Whatever. This time, it was totally the other way around.
Setting up the expectations in case everything goes wrong. I like it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like 80-90% of people were like, no, we're winning draft. This is great. And again, just with the historical baggage of this team, that was something that felt very good. Now, this is interesting, actually, in this first game, because there's a Shen pick, right?
Yep.
And that was something we hadn't seen, I don't think, all season, from Someday. And so people were like, oh, okay, this might be interesting. But you have, lots of other comfort and power picks for the rest of the team. So I think even with the mystery of Shen top, people felt great about this draft. And again, that's big for fans. We always thought we were losing. So
this is just conditioning. I remember.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember several times having to talk you down about no, it's actually not bad. It's just
because all I can do is look at if we won or lost. All I can do is we lost. It was bad.
This is like when I was talking to the guys at Factor, which, by the way, plug once again, factor.gg. We've got a lot of great content rolling out for Worlds. So the main thing, so when I talked to the guys at Factor, it was like, fans love to just shit on draft, like they love to, because it's one of those low-hanging fruit things that they can analyze. We need to have something like really cool interface-wise when the draft rolls out for people to engage with, right? So it is like the easiest thing to start to analyze if you're one of a new analyst, is just to look at draft and have an opinion on. Because it's like a card game, and everyone knows how card games go. So we did watch this game for the TL VOD review too. And I think the main thing here that I talked about was that Shen can win the Camille matchup, but it's not like Shen is a huge counter to Camille. It's just pickable, and you can kind of outplay certain situations. Your main goal is to look, but I actually think it's pretty Camille favored overall, especially as the game goes on. So the way that this works is you have a lot of champions that dive in with Shen. So you have Viego, LeBlanc. Those are the main things that you're looking for here. And then you have like a winning bot lane. So when you're looking at this, you're looking at a team that's going to bot dive based off of winning the mid jungle setup, which is pretty volatile. You've got like Viego LeBlanc versus Syndra Lee Sin, which in this situation really depends on how the LeBlanc's going to win, but I'm expecting both of these junglers to like try to 3-camp gank and then set up something off of that. But it's not relevant until like the 5:30 wave, when solo laners are getting level 6. So what the fuck is this power ranking? Yep. Yeah, Surdy is also a Camille wins Shen enjoyer. So here we go.
Now, I should say, talking about that top lane matchup, just like from a narrative perspective, because again, that's what I'm going to be better at. Alfari, widely considered to be, not even close, the top laner in LCS. And if he would have played the full season, he probably would have won MVP without any of the extra stuff that went on.
See, I had some thoughts on that, actually. I think that TL, and this is TL VOD reviewing coming in. This is the first time that we're getting a new team in the region that we haven't. Actually, no, we did HLE and a Gen G VOD before, but they focus a lot on setting up Alphari for success, like level 1, right? I don't know if we see it this game, but usually you're seeing Core JJ drop wards around top lane, right? At level 1. Like we'll go top, drop a ward, and then recall for sweeper and go back bot, right? Things like that, really common. Drop wards in the lane bush so that he can play super aggressive, but then the payoff of how he plays the lane is really meh, because it's like, for as much as you're getting, you aren't seeing as many advantages, and then they don't really set up good plays around the advantages that they get. So that's kind of where I am. I think in this game, they did a little bit better, if I recall correctly. So they did not have a good time. But in general, it's kind of... I don't know if Alphari would have been MVP from my POV this season if he played the whole time, based on how TL's been playing around him. So
yeah, well, a couple of things. One, it's a narrative award, Kelsey.
Yeah, okay.
So the narratives went out, and then the other thing is, of course, you're gonna set up your best player to succeed. You know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I don't know. Just stakes are high from a fan watching it perspective, because it's like, the pressure's on someday. The pressure's been on someday for the playoffs, you know.
And then this is another situation. The mid laners, right? We're looking at as soon as you see E, like Cinder drop E like that, you're kind of thinking, okay, it's pretty easy to bait this out here. So you could set up like what we were talking about before, an easy early gank if you want. Looks like both junglers are actually going to do at least 5 camps, so I think this is still like a good angle if they wanted to 2v2 mid. Meanwhile, chunking both spots. Let's see how this goes. So this is now like the kind of window where you would expect like a transfer of pressure. You can't really dive Shen too easily, especially not without 3. Okay. Sunday played that pretty well. But Alphari also kind of into Undertown. But it doesn't really matter either way, because he's going to recall, grab probably a longsword in this case. Or, nope, D-Blade. Nice. Okay. I like the D-Blade. So that he can have like more HP for Shen all in, and then also continue to look for, I think, like, in my opinion, poke trades. It's really easy to bait out like the Shen W, and then get into a situation where, okay, I'm good. All right.
Yeah, just one more thing on that on that top lane. Something, you know, if the idea of this is to give people like an idea of what to expect from the team. So before, you know, these last few series and playoffs, like I think Someday had kind of been making some mistakes in top lane, pushing up too far without the proper support there. You see Santorin lurking like just ready for Someday to commit like a Someday play, you know, is how it has felt like recently. And actually in this series, he did give away a couple easy ones like that. So that's one of the things to watch for with him. As wise and as experienced as he is, sometimes I will
say this from having worked with Someday. Someday is always the guy who's going to, like, when you're in a position where you can either get your wave in and die, or back on a bad wave and have to deal with like your jungler's rotation to fix your freeze. He's always going to be the guy who like flips it and tries to get the wave in, which I don't mind, honestly. Like I don't mind that. It kind of depends on the win condition of your team as to whether or not it's good, right? So if you're Shen and you have a window to get your wave in, but you could die for it, down for you to flip it, right? Especially because it's like Forest bot. All right, stuff is happening on my screen, so I should probably back up and talk about it. I talk about the setup for this. But if you're like a laner where you're playing like Camille or you're playing Renekton or something where the jungler should be spending a lot of time like focusing on helping you fix your lane, making sure you're the win condition of the team composition. That's when you don't really flip it as much because it's probably going to be like maybe 45 seconds max before your jungler is on your side of the map again to help you fix your wave. So you can back on a bad wave state and then say, yo, I'm going to need help getting this in, right? And that's fine. So I think that's kind of like where I would go on this. So I don't mind Sunday's kind of mentality there, and that's usually where I see him playing the lane like that.
I got you.
Let's see. Okay. The setup to this particular play. So I talked to you at the beginning about 530, right? So when I say 530 wave, cool, just to clarify. And for
Thank you.
And for my new viewers, I mean the wave that is in the middle of the mid lane at 530. The reason that wave is important is because that's when most solo laners hit level 6, okay? Unless something goes wrong and they're denied. And that's really huge, right? Because you get your ult. And if you have a more roaming style mid laner, you're going to be able to have like a huge impact off of having level 6 first. Because, okay, so now we've got support jungle roaming here from TL to set up this. And this is something we see TL do a lot in playoffs, is this kind of more focus around mid. That was very ambitious. But we did get Closer's Flash. I like it. The flash from Leon Closer is going to be way more impactful, right? And then we're focusing on this big wave that's stacking up here. So Ezreal's pretty safe to just like trim the wave bot. Again, this is a big TL thing. So if they wanted to look for a dive off of this, but they're just going to get the wave. Because, I mean, Abaddon blue W, but they don't want to like 3v3 under tower like that. So they'll go back bot here. They'll look for another rotation and then try to make this happen again. The other thing that 100 Thieves wants to do, right? If I am 100 Thieves on this rotation, and this is where we get into a little quibbles with, like, obviously Closer is mechanically good, but when I watch 100 Thieves games, I'm talking about where should he be right now, and where do you think he should be, Cole?
Let's see, maybe on Dragon.
Interesting.
He had. I said maybe on Dragon. He had bot lane prio. I guess FBI was just gonna do a recall.
So I'm thinking,
but I don't know if they had vision on Santorin.
So generally speaking, like when we're talking about laners getting 6, one of the big things that you want to set up for if you have a Shen is you want to make sure that Shen can get his wave in and push out in time for a situation where you want to like make a bot dive. Because I think they should be like what we talked about before is 100 Thieves should be thinking about bot dives this game, right? So I want to do my bot camps as they come up, and I want to recall and set up so that somebody can push up his slave, so maybe gank top one time. And then everyone's going to transfer pressure to bot side to look for a bot dive off of Shen ult, right? That's kind of what I'm thinking about. And also if I make the gank on Camille and she has to burn TP, then for sure we just have TP advantage. She can't do anything. Cinder can't do anything. Cinder also no TP. And then the bot dive is really free, right? We can 4-man bot or 5-man bot because you need a lot of numbers to dive Ezreal later. Does that make sense? So to me, it's like, okay, this is the obvious thing he should be thinking about right now. So let's see if he does it. Yeah, Bayor, I'm talking about, I think he should do his camps, right? Like, he should give his bot camps. So that's what I'd rather see him do. I don't like the Dragon, because I think Dragon is like a waste of tempo, in my opinion. So.
Okay.
We're talking about Santorin and Armeo, the veteran the veteran top laner, or the veteran jungle Armeo. He is a kind of like, he would be classified as such, right? Because he's Grig.
Yeah.
Yep. So, wait, this is interesting. So Camille went for this mid play off of timer, right?
Mm-hmm. It seemed a little thirsty.
And it's a little, like, I would say that this is not something that should work, right? And in exchange for, so the only reason he's doing this is because Jensen is really low mana, yeah? So he's doing this to get Jensen a recall, which I think the main thing here is that you're not going to get a timer from support, okay? Because your bot lane is getting pushed in, so
Yeah.
poor JJ is not going to be mid first on a rotation. Right now, so you're going to have numbers advantage in most cases from 100 Thieves side. So the fact that TL do this, right, and they send Alfari mid to help Jensen get a recall, opens up the window we're talking about where 100 Thieves can maybe from base like set up look for a dive play. The thing is that they wasted their tempo already on Dragon when they could have backed earlier, and then this play is really free. What they got in exchange was blue buff, right?
Yeah.
And then so now we have like the top window, but it's on a window where 100 Thieves bot is backing, so they can't set up like the stacked wave on this rotation, because by the time they do,
Yeah.
like Alfari will have Limprayo again.
Oh yeah. So this is indicative of them setting something up that they didn't actually get to deploy. This
Yeah.
huge wave.
So this huge wave is like, this is a window where they could have thought about it, right? If Alfari is going to back and then give up a window mid, but I'm pretty sure like they know, okay, they got Dragon, they're invading blue buff here, which means that bot is going to have to look for back. So they're expending a lot of resources, bot hasn't backed yet. So this is a window where I actually can let Sunday recall, right? It's not going to be that big of a deal because I'm Camille versus Shen. I win that matchup scaling wise. So it's fine for me to go mid here. I'm not going to give up too much by letting Shen have a window. So this is like kind of the way that we're thinking about how all these pieces connect together, impacting the map, and why I don't like the fact that 100 Thieves are like expending tempo for like blue buff invade, dragon, stuff like that, when they could be setting up like the most guaranteed bot dev of my life, where they're like denying 3 waves and getting FBI super ahead, which they want to do with this draft.
Yeah. They want to do like every time. That's like the
Yeah.
Thieves. You know, foundational principle number 1 is set up bot lane to carry.
Dive bot, hello, dive bot. This is the no, it was like I was as part of off-season combos also, and it was just like FBI was the guy, right?
Yeah.
The cornerstone of the off-season was FBI, so.
So this kind of play never happens in NA. I feel like 2021 this never happens. A little alcove gank.
The alco gig, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like, someday doesn't have to be here, right? This play shouldn't work. Like his wave's coming into him, but at the same time, you know, it's like, yeah. I mean, I just think he doesn't have to be here.
Yeah.
Like there's
So
not
this is
really
what
any coverage topside.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. You know, it's like
Yeah.
he gives away, you know, 2 or 3 of these in the series. And historically it's been a bigger deal than it is in this situation.
I think also though, like in Subday's defense here, this is a window where I would expect Santorin to be looking for recalls. And it's probably something so that he can go bot, because this is also probably something that You know, his jungler is communicating like Santorin has to go bot here. His camps are up, and this is something that we talked about with TL. Is that Santorin's recalls are actually notoriously late if you watch his bots. So that's something maybe they could have scouted, but not necessarily something that you would remember in game, right? Yeah. And this is the bot dive, right?
This is the play. Yeah.
This is the bot dive, which if this goes wrong, someday just has no video game. It's just doomed. It's over. Because he's going bot here. They're dropping Rift. I'm actually really surprised that Tactical doesn't back off earlier. I'm gonna be honest. Like that Tactical and Core JJ don't, because at minimum you know, right, that okay, LeBlanc got her wave in. We can see that she's clearly going bot from mid, right? And then she does even show on this ward. So this is the part where I was really surprised that Tactical and Core JJ just, because this isn't even a big wave, right? Like this is like one wave. You obviously give this and back off. But I think they were just also not thinking that Shen would ult, because that's a lot for him to lose. They double TP. And the dive is played pretty well, right? If we look at it. Yeah. Tactical just dies off the tower, so it doesn't matter too much. But then when they look for the redive, right, who he still has ulti up, manages to, should always be the first one to engage. Closer drops aggro. He walks out and then Closer drops off aggro with the reset. So not bad, right? And then flashes out. So not bad overall. But again, it's like one of those plays that's like, I feel like instead of, and this is something you can also scout, right? TL will always, two things, right? Like one, I think this play should have happened earlier, and we talked about this. This play should have happened when Jensen didn't have TP. Two, you know TL will always make the salvage play. If you watch their bots, they always make the good salvage. It's always two people TPing bot. So this play should have just been, oh, okay, I mean, it sucks, but we're giving here, we're gonna catch after, right? And then we're not gonna make the salvage play because we're going to get so much more top and mid playing off of this. We're gonna get like another window here. And it's fine because both of the soul inners are losing a lot. And our main win con is gonna basically be Camille anyway, right? That's what we want, is we want Alfari to have like a massive lead over Shen and to just keep like hammering away on at top 2-1. I think Alfari recalled, right? But he can even TP back top there. They just get the top 2-1 while TL are getting bot 2-1 with Varus. I mean, Varus is fine, but it's like as Ezreal into Varus, even if you're a full item behind, you eventually just get mid-prio. So because you're Ezreal. So I think that for me it's like kind of weird that they all end on the salvage play when Ezreal is not their win condition and Ezreal is just going to be fine. And Varus being ahead is not going to be the end of the game. So that's why I was weird that happened, and weird that 100 Thieves didn't try to execute that play earlier also, though. So I guess there's that.
Yeah, in chat, Mira said, Core J probably spamming on comms, we can outplay this. And like, I think, so that's going to be something, especially at this stage of the series, that I think Team Liquid would do, is kind of like, oh, it's 100 Thieves, like, we'll do this, you know? And that's, honestly, that will happen to them at Worlds too. So I'm hoping underestimation happens a lot, you know? But the other teams may not, other major regions may not make like a misread on what to do in play, so.
I think it's just TL make a lot of salvage plays. Like, we noticed that when we were doing the TL VOD review that, oh, shit goes wrong, Jensen TP! And then instead of making trade plays, they almost always make salvage plays, like defensive plays. So that's something that maybe is predictable if you do good scouting. It's like, okay, if we all in them here, they're just gonna double TV bot, which is why I think it would make more sense for 100 Thieves to look for a window where they have like a sums advantage. And then the play is like way more impactful. But, you know, they just outplayed it because
we're just better.
You're just better. Yeah, true. And again, this is the thing that we talked about before, right? Is that you kind of have to acknowledge which is your win con. It's the same principle as like getting your wave in top when you could die. Is do we salvage the Ezreal Leona? Probably not. We probably just have them give like a turret and a wave or two, and then try to get like a full turret top for Camille. That dive is just you chain feeding with pentakill to Viper. 100 Thieves versus
let's
EDG
not start
prediction.
that already. Come
100
on.
Thieves versus EDG prediction. There you go. Most of my stream viewers are LPL fans, so.
Yeah, that makes sense historically. I just, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's also because I typically use this stream to live view LPL matches, so. It's
judging by the stream time, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Usually it starts even earlier than this, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let myself sleep a couple extra hours. It's all good.
Oh man. It is. I gotta say, just like as an LCS person, it's all about the measuring stick at Worlds, you know? And it's just like, are we competitive? Can we be taken seriously? And that it sucks to be there as a fan, but you know, it is what it is until things change.
Okay, so Surdy is saying that he would take this 1v1, which I mean is a little self-depreciating, but you know, have to go back for the the moment here. But this is like okay, we should talk about how they're setting up the map off of the wave, because this is important. So thank you for reminding me to talk about this, Surdy, though. I'm encouraging you to be self-aware and not take the 1v1. Okay, we've got so off of the bot dive, because we've just kind of been talking about random stuff until this point. So let's look at how this is set up here.
Feel free to replay Alfari dying as many times as you desire.
Oh, okay.
I'm here for it.
All right, got it. So someday, see, this is the crowd where it's like someday cries in the interview, and like
yes,
you and I can be
as
together.
Did we all?
And you and I can be together on like that being like the best moment of the season. So let's go with recall. So they go through mid, so they're gonna show. I'm assuming they already showed mid wave because they got the wave in, but we can't see it on the replay. And then they're getting the second Drake because it's NA and we stack dragons, and that's what we do with our lives. But I think this is another instance where it's like, okay, obviously here we have a huge timer. I don't know why we're bot. We should be shifting into topside already. It's kind of my impression. The fact that Leona has this window to be top here is because they're showing on these bot wars that TL set up, but there's no reason at all for 100 Thieves to be bot on this timer, in my opinion. Like, you should be taking topside. If you're keeping track of like what camps are up, you should know that it's more likely that top camps are up. You can be stronger on this side because right now your bot is so strong you can easily shift into top here, and they're like the bot wave is totally fine. So I'm really surprised that they went and they contested this blue buff. Blue buff is, in the grand scheme of things, like less useful. So this is just kind of a weird rotation where Core JJ is able to like lean topside and pressure when I feel like he shouldn't have this window. Yeah.
Chat, is she underrating the blue buff? Is that what's going on here?
Yeah, obviously.
She keeps talking about our blue buff priorities.
Yeah.
Is she underrating it? Vote now in the chat.
Dragon and blue buff, man. Like, It's me versus NA teams on Dragon and Blue buff like every time, but it's a TSM holdover. I did like a 10. For those of you who don't know, I did like I think it was like a 6K to 10K word article. I don't remember, examining TSM's blue buff priority throughout the years.
Throughout the years?
Yes, from like season 1 and 2.
You are dedicated. Throughout the years attached to that is a wild statement.
Because apparently it's a Reggie thing, specifically. Like, it's specifically a Reggie thing. I remember talking to Svenskaren about this at like World 20... Because Skara was the first one who was like talking about it. It's like, we knew they would contest second blue every time, right? And then I remember it, and then I was just watching it. It's like, they still do that shit every time. I remember talking to Svenskaren about it at Worlds like 2017. He's like, yeah, kind of a TSN thing. I was like, okay. So yeah, I went through and I examined, first of all, like mid jungle control from TSM, and then like blue buff priority. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Anyway.
It was a fun 6,000 to 8,000 words.
Yeah, so they're rotating top like kind of late, and this is the situation where it's like, okay, these Krugs and Raptors could have been closers. I'm just saying, I'm throwing that out there, closer. Just, it's a thought.
Give the man a break. Give the finals MVP a break.
But who is concept of actually carrying the game 0. I'm sorry. For people in chat don't know who Concept of X is. Concept of X is an amateur top laner. He mostly plays tanks. Not really. Actually, who does he play for now? He's swapped like 3 teams. It's a really good question.
I'm glad to a few minutes to Concept of X during the 100T VOD review.
Yeah, it's
give chat what they want.
Concept of X. Look, for my stream is the weirdest like crossover between like amateur and LPL, NA amateur and LPL fans. I will tell you that right now. He's on AoE. He's on one of the AoE teams. AoE Vice. AoE has like 3 teams. So yeah. Concept of X. Concept was he a cinched one trick? I want to say I always associate with him like, I think he did play cinched for a while.
I'll say Switchbox seemed to always pull out these random facts about kind of obscure players, and he's always right. So
Master into Camille because that was good. Made me play Master. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Is blue buff a real objective? Chat thinks blue buff is a real objective. So I guess you won.
Yes,
you're turning.
Chat, you're with me now. Blue buff is real. 100 Thieves are winning worlds. Mission accomplished, man. I can actually take off earlier than planned, Kelsey. I'm good. We're done.
We're good? Okay. But seriously, if you do have to go, because I had Clement on.
No, I don't.
And he like kind of, you could tell he wanted to go, and it's just like, Clement, just leave. Yeah. All right. So now we actually talked about the sequence a really long time in the TL VOD review. I'm not going to get into it here because it's way less relevant to 100 Thieves. But now we have TL able to like push out all the way and retake on the window they want. And they can recall and set up a play, but Santorin does crooks. So throwing that out there, both junglers like greeting for random camps. It's all good.
Cancels each other out. We're good.
It cancels each other out because now there's no like top play setup off of Syndra getting the wave in on bot side. So it's whatever. It's fine. And now Syndra is forced to, on this rotation, retake again because Santorin is just now coming out of base. And this is a window where 100 Thieves are like, you know what? TL's tempo is fucked. Let's drop Rift Herald mid. Oh, sorry. Cool. I realized.
Hey, it's your stream, not mine.
Yeah, exactly. So you're not responsible
I'm in
for
your
anything
house.
I said. It's just
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
We
now-
looked for it. We looked for it. We were there.
It's I mean the thing is looking at this, right? So like let's talk a little bit about this map state and what we can learn from both 100 Thieves and TL off of this, okay? So since like the tempo is kind of messed up, you can't like hard trade side trade for top here, right? You can side trade for top, but you have more tempo because they have Rift, right? And your recalls are kind of staggered. So the fact that like 100 Thieves get full bot control here, they could theoretically like posture to play for this bot T2. Like waves coming in. Like this is like Alfari can get this top T1, but it's not a good trade, right? Especially Alfari continues to show here. 100 Thieves, instead of like hard pressuring for this, choose to recall for tempo, which I'm never gonna say no to that. But the fact that Alfari is basically just like, oh, I'm gonna continue to degrade topside. You could almost even allocate like a player there and just hard, because like someone's gonna catch this wave mid, so you can almost just send like one person back to see if you can catch Alfari grading, and then keep like sort of trying to play for this. I think they choose not to because it's Ezreal and Syndra, which is quite a bit of wave clear. And they also are probably, I mean, it's an NA team, so they're probably thinking, oh, we should retake bot side for Vision on Drake, and get the Drake, when they have absolutely no reason to play for this dragon here. In fact, like, with the amount of tempo that they have, right, they can just give up this Drake, get the next mid wave off of recall, and hard shifted to top side. And get top T1, control, look to continue to snowball off of TL wanting to play for this dragon. Because this dragon is like way more important to TL than 100 Thieves.
Yeah, right.
What are we talking about in chat? Is Miracu bullying you? Miracu tends to bully people.
Yeah, but you know, I'm happy to be that person. Mira needs a target. I'll be the target. I'm strong. I am confident.
I was like actually so impressed by Husha, the BYG jungler. I still can't get over how impressed I was by Husha. It's actually nuts. Had zero expectations.
Hold on.
Yep. See, once again,
Okay,
there's
sorry.
so see once again, like I just don't. Why are they trying to overload bot again? Like you had a huge window to take topside, and instead you're just gonna retake bot. You're gonna play off. So like let's look at a base. Let's talk about this a little bit, chat. Okay.
Are you talking about before they made the dragon decision?
Yeah. So let's look here. We had Alfari all the way over here, right? Where we got the wave in. We know that they're all bot, and we're getting ahead. We're ahead of them on the recall, right? 100 Thieves. So coming out of base, yeah. So what here? To get dragon, you're basically having to retake this vision. When you know now TL will probably get this and shift into top, take top side, right? And then like if you want to play to push out top after this, which you should, like it's really easy to play for like top T1 on this next rotation. why wouldn't you just give drag and play for top? Because now it's like you're in a position where you're really ahead on tempo and you're using that to retake bot. So now you have a window to just keep you constantly in that position where you're retaking on the map. Like look what TL do here, right? They send Leona top and Camille is like really strong. They know that 100 Thieves are gonna go for the strike, so they're looking for like what they can get topside. And Someday, to his credit, right, he's reacting by getting wolves. But this whole scenario, like TL shouldn't, in my opinion, shouldn't be allowed to go top here, and they're ahead on this play. But that shouldn't have happened. They shouldn't have used tempo on an objective that they don't need, right? I find this very strange in general.
You're not a fan of getting quick to soul point and forcing everything?
Well, it's more just like you're giving up tempo and control, and you're opening this window for this play that snowballs the Camille, which is like the main way for TL to win. And then you expend your TPs, right? Your LeBlanc TP for this, which is fine. Well, but I think they were setting up to siege this turret, right? Or to get a window to go top, which is the only reason why they like TLC this like fast play opportunity, which I don't think they should be TPing for. Like realistically, this should just be like a fast play with Alfari and Court JJ, and then either die or get out. But you're looking for something like this, right? You're looking for a fast play because you're not getting mid prio, and 100 Thieves are setting up bot. So I think it's like very weird that they are allowed to do this.
Look, they knew. So on our stream we have a concept called the bait brother. Okay, and they knew that Someday was a bait brother. That's why they could hesitate a little bit. Look at the flash from Someday here. It's everything. He's a bait brother. Look at him clean up.
I mean, the thing is that
now who has the tempo?
Jensen should. I mean, but they had the tempo and they gave it away.
Yeah, well, he gave it away to take it back again. Okay. It's all about the morality, the mentality.
Like they can make this fast play, right? And this fast play is like nice because it's good for Camille. But the other option that they have here, right, instead of TPing to this, is that they just like keep this vision and then they keep playing on this side. Someday dies. And I mean, honestly, it's like you lose on the Camille side, but this play shouldn't exist anyway. But you can make a more impactful trade here as well if you stay on the map instead of TPing here. Like the only reason why this TP is good, right? And they, to like their credit, they wait for Syndra to trigger TP first. Syndra should not TP here. And I think actually
I agree, Team Liquid is trash.
After you trigger this, I mean, I have to ask, do you want NA to do well at Worlds or just 100 Thieves?
I do want NA to do well as a whole. Okay,
so you know, you gotta get rid of the Team Liquid is trash then, okay? You gotta embrace them a little bit more.
For this particular VOD, can I do it?
Go for it. Okay, Syndra Syndra should not be here. I think this is my opinion. Once Syndra TP is here, it's actually gonna be way better for 100 Thieves to say, oh, okay, cool. We just get your you know, like your mid T, your bot T2, your mid T2, you know, thanks. It's cool. And then they send like Alistar back or something, and they said Alistar and close your back, right? Like over here, to kind of defend them from getting like more than like the bot T2, because then they went out the trade. But here, like they all TP and they take the fight, which is fine. It's not bad.
It's called punishing.
But I also. Well, so is playing for bot side control and hammering that home. I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay, but that's playing with no heart. All right. We're playing with our hearts here.
Playing with your hearts. I mean, this is only working because I mean, I hate this entire play from TL. Not because it's bad to look for this top play. So I think like Core JJ Alfari absolutely should look for this. Like 100%. This should be a fast play on Someday.
But no Jensen.
And then no Jensen, no Sant. Why is Santorin here? What are you gonna do, buddy? Like, what do you think's gonna happen?
To show unity.
What do you think's gonna happen, my man? Like, you know Abadage is channeling this TP. How do you win this? Like, you have no ult left from Alfari.
He's gonna kick Abadaga through closer and FBI. That's what he's doing.
Abadaga is like super ahead, so he should wreck your team. And you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna die too. that's the decision that's being made here. And maybe he can see an angle to outplay that I can't see. Because he's probably, maybe he can, right? But I'm just like, well, why are you donating this kill? There's no reason, right? It's kind of... And he doesn't die, but he also could have, right? If by running into that. So that was like the entire thing for me. And then meanwhile, it's like, okay, everyone's gonna recall now. TL's gonna be first to get this bot wave. So this bot wave that we could have set up and done something with is now no longer a play. This is a window though for 100 Thieves to take topside, which is what I wanted them to do this entire time.
Now we get the slow motion version of it.
Yeah, let's watch it again. Just why are you here, Centaurin? Why are you here, Jensen? Bam.
Meanwhile.
Yeah, meanwhile, I mean, this is why I don't know about you, but this is why I hate replays. It's just like, I don't get to see how any of that was set up, why that worked out, why that happened. It's just like, no, and maybe for you like it, because it's like, yeah.
I love it. I'm
Team
a fan
Liquid's,
service guy.
Team Liquid's trash and Core JJ died, yeah! But for me, it's like, how did Core JJ die? Why was Core JJ there? What happened to lead to that situation? So
he died from his hubris. That's all you need to know.
Died from his hubris.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I do. A lot of times I come back and replay like, what happened? But
it's like,
fortunately,
I'm just looking at this and it's like, I can kind of see why he did this, because I was talking about before how I think this should be 100 Thieves' window to take topside, right? So the fact that their bot here, or Abadage's bot here, killing me is kind of a why. You know, if I'm them, it's like, so I have my Camille on the strong side now. We're super ahead on the map on this play. Why is Abadage in here, right? It should
because he galaxy brained it.
He's too good. And this is like not necessarily bad, right? Because it's like, you know, the sport's probably going to be the first one to aggressively look for vision. You're going to get mid-prio off of this just because you are Varus Alistair on this window. So it's like, I don't think it's a bad play from Abadage, but I can also see like why Core JJ thought this was okay, right? Yeah, just throwing that out there. I also just really want them to play for top T1. I really, like, you keep going bot here, but it should be really hard to get the, like, versus Ezreal Syndra was where it was before, and now it's like, Camille's really strong. Just get the low-hanging fruit on top T2. Baron is spawned, so you can set up vision around Baron as well. But no, we're just gonna chill here for a bit. Seems good.
They were right this time.
McDonald's hash brown and hot chocolate 5 a.m. combo. Sturdy, how much did you sleep last night?
See, look, they were heading that way. You're just like 30 seconds ahead of them all the time, perpetually.
No comment. No. That's all I'll say for now.
He meditates to the concept of X Pro views.
Oh no.
I gotta get in on this.
The concept of X. See, this is why you should watch more Academy
Yeah.
and Amateur. Come on, where's the when it? I just want more Academy episodes. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's all I want.
You know, usually we don't have so much to talk about with the main roster, so you may be getting a little less than usual.
There you go. Yeah, so you're saying that when I was on 100 Thieves, I was more likely to get an Academy episode.
things were such that
Yeah.
that yes, things were such. That's
So
all
it's
I'll
like,
say.
okay, like I get like TL are gonna fight this. So this is so by the way, like I'm fine if 100 Thieves give this and they just grab the top T2 because top T2 is just like free, right? And then they can't really bait Baron because their Baron sucks. But I'm also fine in this instance with like we can get top T2 later. We just kill them because they have to fight this because it's the whole point. Like I'm fine with that too. So this is like a situation where it's like, okay, let's just go Drake. They're also losing massive wave top for this. And I'm just, how was this even set up? They win top and just no one answered, I guess. Because this should be the window, and we've talked about this on stream a lot, but like 1 minute before Drake is the window where you can test top wave, right? And I'm saying this as if, yeah, of course, no. If you're not aware, like if you push in the top wave, that gives you a trade play option, or a situation where, you know, the enemy team is losing creeps for you doing this. So I would say like TL are overloading because they're hoping to get vision super early, and they're fine with like losing waves for this because it is Dragon Soul. They also know that 100 Thieves cannot threaten the Baron, right? So this is why they are just like sending a shit ton of people here really early. They need to get a flank angle. They need to win this fight. So I get the decision that's being made on both sides again. So I still think, you know, and Syndra wouldn't have had, and Syndra would have TP for Baron spawn. So there is that, or Dragon spawn, which means that Syndra could have like probably fixed top wave and TP'd. I think it's kind of worth, but it is what it is. Bam.
There we go.
And
If
now
it wasn't over before.
Now they're all dead.
Yeah.
What are you doing now?
What's up? Are you criticizing or are you talking to me?
Oh, we're talking about Tenacity Aurelia on the EUS letter. I mean, it is Tenacity's time to shine, man. Aurelia is broken. He is the Aurelia player.
Oh man, I love this so much. Oh, I just love this.
You just love LeBlanc being fed and killing people?
I don't
or?
care. Yeah, I can watch this all day. Look at that. Oh, yes. With the emote mid play. He missed a few of the W's, but we'll forgive it.
We can dissect this play if you really want, but
No, I just like watching them.
okay. You just like watching it. I like watching Team Liquid die cold 2022. Just post that on Twitter with no context. There you go.
Look, I said we're a team with very significant baggage, and so this was very cathartic for us.
Yeah, but this is a wallet fight. You just like
Oh yeah.
Team Liquid. It's a wallet fight in game, but it's also like a 100 Thieves TL wallet fight. It's like
Good thing we sold a lot of hoodies.
my mid laner costs more than your mid laner, huh? That kind of situation. LCS is pay to win. Okay. Here we go.
Yikes.
That's a take. Okay, here we go.
I mean, if that was true, we wouldn't have won this split. There have been monies transferred.
There's been a lot of money transferred on a lot of sides. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes, for sure.
Oh, 10? Okay, I can do 10. Alright, I think this game's kind of over, but I think
Oh, it's for sure over.
main takeaways I have is like a lot of so they recognized the plays that they had to make in early in. I think they ended up they're really confused by like sides to control to maintain tempo, I think is what I'm getting here. They'll like just stay on the same side and keep going even if like the wave is set up such that TL should kill the wave and then they don't have a play, right? So that's kind of where I am on 100 Thieves right now. There's a lot of mid-game issues with 100 Thieves, for sure. That's probably what we are going to discover throughout the VOD review. However,
Yeah.
I also think like there are some early game things to highlight too, which is just like kind of similar. I feel like this team in general, it's not just an early game or mid game thing, it's just like there's a side that they're gonna be on as much as possible. And that's just how they play it. Alright, so where are we going next, Cole? Because I think you have to go soon, right?
Yeah, I'll have to go in a little bit, but I was just gonna say, you know, if you want to watch, I probably shouldn't do more Team Liquid. One of the things about 100T is that you especially with the mid game issues, you are going to see a different team if you look at pre-playoffs versus playoffs. And it's not like we got rid of all of our problems during playoffs or whatever, but it was just so much more cleaned up during playoffs. And so I don't know, we could go one or two ways. We can go to a game against C9 where we still had a lot of trouble in the mid game, but we pulled out the win, or we can go to like a pre-playoffs game where we lose and do some stupid things.
I'd switch. You're driving, so you know, it's whatever.
Let's do the first option. Let's go to semifinals versus C9 game 2.
Okay.
So this is the very long drawn out win, but had a bad start, couldn't do anything mid game, and we have to rely on hands later to come back. Miracle is not a fan of optimism, by the way. I am discovering.
No, Miracle is not the biggest fan of optimism. In fact, probably. Oh, okay. He wants to know what you think of Genji's logo.
Did they rebrand?
No, it's just Genji's logo, generally.
Just like the reflected G thing? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
what's
not gonna
the deal here? What's the thing?
I'm not gonna give anything away. He just wants your opinion. Is
it because it looks like ovaries?
He's using your opinion on. He's trying to rate stream guests, and this is one of his criteria: is what you think of Genji's logo. So
it does. It to me, it looks like the female reproductive system. the negative space. And then I am not a fan of like the like arcing text. You know what I mean? You know how like the Genji like swoops down and comes up? And so I'm out on the Genji logo.
Okay. You're out on the Genji logo.
Yeah.
There's the answer.
Sorry to get all like Freudian about it, but
Okay.
Miracle wants the take and then the logic, not the logic then the take.
Yeah,
I understand
mean,
Miracle.
it's so it is. It's very interesting. Also, I'm pretty sure that that's a point in your favor because I don't think anyone in my chat likes the Genji logo. So.
Good. I need as many things as I can get from your chat.
They're a savage bunch. It's definitely makes me reflect on myself a bit because you are the community you create.
You definitely are, Kelsey. Careful. It looks like a Transformers logo. It kind of does. I see that too.
I see the second pick Vayne and I justify it later. I see.
There I googled it too and I see the Genji NBA 2K League logo is actually like much better.
Okay, so we've got a Diego first pick again in a 100 Thieves series. Thank you for the gifted subs, Zemelchi. I'm gonna pronounce it like that. I appreciate that. Enjoy your sub gift, Apulia. All right, so we've got Diego first pick. And then Aphelios Blind, which is the 100 Thieves Classic with both Ziggs and Varus still up, right? So either you're a Varus team or you're a Ziggs team. Arguably Cloud9 is a Varus team, so they're just going to play to try to punish the late phase, get prio, and look for invade, right? We also have the favorite TF, and... see, Trundle into... Oh no, is this Viego top?
I think this is Fudge taking Viego, if I remember right.
That's a misery.
I was actually just looking that up. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it's
is.
Fudge.
And then it's Trundle Jungle. I think I remember this game, but it'll be an adventure.
You'll rediscover yourself.
I'm gonna be honest. I think I prefer, like, in terms of the jungle matchup, I actually prefer the Viego into Lee Sin matchup compared to Trundle into Lee Sin. Like, Trundle's okay, but there's just like way more outplay potential Lee Sin versus Trundle. Like, Viego can actually outplay the Lee Sin matchup okay. Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, people think of the 100 Thieves as like a hard counter, but as Viego, you're clearing faster, plus I mean, sometimes you just one-shot people, and it's and if Lee Sin like tries to lead with Q, it's over for him. So that's about it.
Isn't Trundle like way more prevalent in the other major regions?
Yeah, Raz did do a live view with us once. Is Trundle OP in the major regions?
Just more prevalent, not OP, but picked more often.
I don't know, because I guess like I've been looking at Proving Grounds drafts and watching Proving Grounds, and I feel like Trundle is overpicked in NA. So kind of hard to say. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of Trundle prio in LPL for a while. I think right now like towards the end of the season it fell off. Whereas I think NA it picked up more.
Hey, I was reading that. I wanted to know when these 4-week classes start.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure you can Google it later.
I have to actually Google something adjacent so that it feeds me the ad. It's more complicated than that.
Okay. Just again, being respectful of your time. Do you have to head out or?
I've got probably about 15 or 20 more minutes.
Okay, cool. All right, so this is the classic 5-man top strat that you have to be mindful of. So the reason why you're always gonna, when you have a Braum, you always have to try to do something level 1. So if you're a top laner and you see a Braum on the enemy team, you should probably play like super respectfully in terms of positioning, which is what Fudge is doing. The other, especially if it's like an aggro top lane matchup like this one with Renekton. The other option they have is trying to invade bot, but it's not as good because one, you can also just get kited, like you're walking into double ranged. So there's like some potential for outplay. Obviously, if Braum just like flashes on to you and autos you, less so, but you also have flash, so keeping that in mind. It's Trundle is gonna do the invade, like let me look at this. The assumption being made here is that Braum recalled and went back bot. That's the assumption that's being made here. And I think that probably 100 Thieves, that's a reasonable assumption.
What are you trying to say, Kelsey?
Nothing. Only that Braum could have stayed top here. I think the risk is, though, that you're coming in with TF Trundle, which should probably still be, like, Braum Lee Sin. You also, but this is like pretty bad. That now they see Blabber on this ward, so this is pretty bad for 100 Thieves maps state because they want to play to the Renekton lane, but there's no reason for Closer to go to these top camps now, right? So now you're in a situation where you're kind of having to split map bot, which is not against the. So actually, I just want to clarify. This is actually not the end of the world. If
Giving that over.
If Orianna doesn't die here, it's not the end of the world for 100 Thieves because you're shutting down the Varus Bard prio a bit for a scaling bot pick, so that Aphelios basically gets to free scale by having map split bot. And then Renekton, in my opinion, Renekton is useful, even if he doesn't do anything. I think this is not the best game to play Renekton into, but it's also not the worst. Like, you've got Viego, you can flash onto people, look for flanks, set up stuns. So, and your job is more or less going to be like peel and frontline because you have better scaling carries. So, I'm okay, and also I'm Renekton, so I'm not usually like too diveable. It's easy for me to like thin wave with my combo, so that I'm comfortable. So it's not the end of the world that you can't play to your Renekton lane because of this topside invade. What does suck is like Abbedagge burning flash here. But it's Trundle into Aphelios Orianna, so the carries are not like enjoying life, you know? It's just not it's not a good time. Yeah, see, like, if it's not a split map situation, which it isn't, like, Trundle, like, understood my reasoning and only took the red buff and went and retook his side, but this also means that he's just, like, behind in jungle clear, right? Closer's doing, like, 3 camps, and he's just starting his second one. So, he's behind, but he also recognizes that the split map state wasn't the greatest idea. But then in this case, like, I don't really like the invade that much because it's like we're over prioritizing a red buff. So now, because
do we have to litigate red buff in chat too? We did blue buff.
Red buff is slightly more useful, but in terms of like XP values, I just don't care. You know, it's like whatever. If I'm a jungler, I don't give a fuck. So red. So then we're going into, this is like a nice big wave up here. FBI super low. He does still have cleanse though. We just had Abadage burn flash mid. This shouldn't be an angle where if we're looking to set up a bot dive here, it's possible for 100 Thieves to reasonably defend this. Like, FBI used too much HP. He has to, like, mad chug pots to make sure he's not diveable.
Yeah.
So this is like a situation that you wouldn't have been able to capitalize on in a split map state. And I don't know, Blabber's just pathing top anyway, so it's all good.
So he gets the benefit of the doubt, huh?
Red
What did
buff
he
or
ever
blue
do
buff?
to get on your good side?
I mean, he's not, because this looks like pretty. The only thing is that like FBI is gonna chug pots, right? And then you're trying to dive Aphelios Braum and giving up all of your top camps. That doesn't seem that realistic, because he also still has cleanse and flash. So, but it is like an angle where if, like, let's say he went, because I would think it would be more reasonable to do your top camps, right, as Trundle, and path down, like do like a few camps, look for an angle mid, bird flash, and then say, okay, we're gonna like 4-wave crash this bot wave. And then Trundle is like, oh, okay, this is good. And then FBI is like burning things, so then you can pressure, actually like realistically pressure them off a stacked wave here. So if he had started his own top side, he would not have been like as far behind, right? Because he's actually just super behind in tempo here, right? He's only done 3 camps before Scuttle Spawn. That's kind of wild. I don't know why. Lee Sin's gonna get double Scuttle though, so that kind of sucks. Sorry, Blizzard. Have a good time.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like well, let's say one.
But if you're
I actually don't remember this play.
If you're a jungler and you know you're gonna get double scuttled, it's good to look for lane ganks like this.
Yeah.
But oh wait, Fudge. Oh, okay, Fudge is okay. Perks is TPing top here. So now we have no Perks TP. So bot lane feels like a lot safer also. I like this. I like that C9 is using their multiple lanes of prio well, which is kind of, when we did like the TL VOD review and we saw the C9 games, they didn't like set up the plays well, but they had plans to like use all of their prio lanes to kind of shift consistently, which I liked.
Yeah.
So I could see people making arguments for C9 having like the best early game that the team's going.
The stats would disagree.
I'm not a stats person, so that's okay.
Oh, so now you play with your heart.
I've never been a stats person because I think that the stats in League are not optimal. Yeah. The stats that people currently track in League are not the best to track, I think. And there could be better stats to track. Better context setting as well when you're tracking stats. But proactive jungle support. Okay, anyway, now that we've kind of talked the pros and cons of C9's early game plan here, we are using, so we talked, remember our lecture at the start of the conversation about the 530 wave call?
Oh no. Oh, here we go. The test.
Here, see, look. Who he's rotating, but it's too late! It's too late! It's too late. We've got the TF wave in at level, like this wasn't even set up like too insane. It's just that 100 Thieves rotated late, and now we've got like the window where top is being volatile, and goodbye someday. Have fun, enjoy.
Yeah, and basically from this point in the game,
so
we're very much out of it for a long time.
So this is once again like C9 are recognizing the play that needs to be made, but they're not setting up for it perfectly. Because ideally, like, there's no way that Vulcan and Blabber aren't, like, on that wave, ensuring that TF gets the crash, because he can always, like, drop bot wave and rotate and make sure that he can't get the crash by making a mid play, right? So that's something that in C9's read can be improved. In 100 Thieves read definitely can be improved, right? So that's like kind of the look that you make there. Yeah, it's really bad for Sunday. He's not happy. And then this is like also a regang angle, right? Theoretically,
Yeah.
which is why Blabber is staying top. He has no TP, or he has no TP now. He has no ult. So that was like potentially like a regang angle.
And again, something that has happened a lot with Someday over the course of this season. So I get like anxiety watching that, just thinking he's about to go in. He's about to go in.
See, like this particular. So let's like take a look here again, and this is like gonna be my defense for Someday, because this is like people will typically look at this and say that this is Someday's fault, right? But we already talked about this is a readable play from draft. We know exactly where the timing is on this play for it to occur, right? Ignoring this, because Perks is going to recall off of the top play. So this is another layer to why this play from C9 was good, by the way. They used their rotation to make sure that this wave was in when Perks was shadowing top, because that wave was relevant to give Perks a back timer so that he could be mid when he hit level 6 on 530 and got the wave in. So that's like why that play was also good, and that's something that I didn't point out the first time. But we've got now we've got them here. He's like holding this wave. Orianna gets this recall.
We get a replay so that you can thoroughly understand what's going on.
Yeah, great for game comprehension. And then Perks is level 6 here. So he got level 6 early because I'm guessing he got like a ward or something. But he got level 6 early because he also didn't get, or was near, I'm not sure how exactly. He does get level 6 early. I just probably am forgetting something that happened in the game. But he gets level 6 early. I think he went top and got XP, I think, is what happened. But he gets level 6 early, and now he's getting level 6 off, and then he's going to be able to go off of this cannon wave into a top play. So regardless of the timing of exactly when he gets level 6, this is a readable play. There, you should be like closers, and whose job here is to be mid on this wave so that Perks cannot rotate. Instead, they're killing this pink ward.
Poor guy.
He's there, and if I am Someday, and you tell me to play safe here when my wave is in this position, I'm gonna tell you that you're an insane person. There is no way in hell I am not fighting to get this wave in. Okay, like why are you not preventing preventing TF from rotating here? Why is this allowed to happen to me? This is not my fault. So this is my defense of Someday, okay, everyone? Just like, predictably, you can guess that this is a play that will happen as soon as the draft is set. Like, you know that this is going to be a thing. So why is Huhi and Closer not on that wave? And then the counterpoint to that is 100 Thieves have no lanes of prio until Abadage has like a lost chapter. So then you say, well, the draft sucks. And then you're 100 Thieves fans. So, okay, we're good.
So we're right this time? Actually,
oh my God.
They liked the draft here.
Oh, they did? Okay, well.
The fans like the draft. Our fans liked the draft here. I think it's because they saw Twisted Fate on the other side. I think that's what made the decision for them.
But, yeah, I think it's just, like, Orianna is fine into the TF matchup, but you're not going to get prio until like level 9, pretty much. So that's just something that your team has to account for. Who he was willing to give like bot waves of XP to be mid on the wave, but they just killed a pink ward, and I don't know why. That was weird to me. But they should make a play on mid, and then they should rotate top to make sure that they can cover someday as he gets the wave in while Blabber's there. So that's why, like, people will look at that play and say, wow, someday is so bad. That is not someday. That is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I think to us normies here, it reads as an overextension for sure. And because we have like PTSD from that. You know what I mean? Like it's been a recurring theme. Like if I'm highlighting what feels like 100T as a team, that's one of those things. You know? And the fact that it was not eliminated but more under control during the TL series was a huge positive sign for us.
And I do
but it's just one series.
And I do think sometimes it is someday, but I do also think that there are a lot of like flaws in Closer's pathing in terms of like where he should be at certain timings in the game in certain wave states, especially. So, and that's a criticism I've levied against him for the past like 3 years. So,
could you please refer to him by his proper name of Finals MVP Closer?
Oh, okay. Finals MVP Closer.
So let me ask you a question really quick. Sorry if I'm interrupting your read of this, but because in this review, there's lots of like, oh, they should have done this. The tempo's wrong, or they're late to this rotation or whatever. So I'm thinking as a stupid 100 Thieves fan, I'm wondering like, all right, so how like do we compare against some of like the other major regions in terms of frequency of these mistakes? You know what I mean? Like, okay, so we're making these mistakes, but how drastically different is it than the other regions?
I would say that in the TL 100 Thieves VOD reviews, the lateness factor was really evident a lot. I think it's just like there is a sense of what these teams should do, but they are late a lot. I would say that it depends on, because I'm kind of working my way up, and I've reviewed a lot of bad teams so far, like 3rd, 4th teams. I think generally speaking, like one of the best teams have the trigger pull where they're making the play on the correct timing, doing something really well. Like I managed to watch like a Damn One VOD review. I was like, oh my god, this is the first team that makes a dive on a stacked wave on the time that they should. My god, it's amazing, right? But Damn One also have a ridiculous amount of mid-game flaws. I think that like in terms of early game timings, like when they do plays on correct times, like the best teams from like China, Korea, we haven't done the Mad review yet. We'll do that like way more consistently. I think C9 is probably the best team I've seen from NA that does that. In terms of mid-game stuff, TL probably has the best mid-game. I mean, one of these is not the worst team, right? I think that's like either... So the main thing that I would do from here is I would watch pro views to see like how much trade potential goes unpunished. I've watched a lot of FBI and I don't think he's bad, so bot lane is probably going to be fine. So, because usually the entire reason why I dismiss NA at Worlds is the laning is terrible. So just like the individual laning. So that's where I go. But I think in terms of like the lateness of the rotations, it is definitely there. It's definitely pronounced for both TL and 100 Thieves, compared to some of the other teams that I've looked at. So.
Big sad.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I brought you to bring the hype, but I think it's like it's not. I think there's definitely some some shine on the apple. Okay, like there's some stuff there, but I think it's like the late rotations and the jungle pathing are things that I'm expecting to get punished at Worlds, and then if you guys can't like adapt in mid game, it's gonna be a rough one. But we'll see. It's best of luck. Godspeed. Looking forward to the 100 TalkPod episodes. Either you complain about draft, or you get really happy and drink a ton of Ribbit. So there you go.
One of two options. There's no between. Yeah, because I am gonna hop off, but let me just say, because I know that there are a lot of people in the chat who may not necessarily be on board with this 100 Thieves team for Worlds, but let me just say, aren't you tired of the old regimes? Isn't the LCS in need of a shakeup? What are we really doing here if we're just sending the same teams over and over again? This is different. The baggage is gone. 100 Thieves is going to be the surprise redemption of LCS. I say that with all of the optimism I can muster in my heart, and I look forward to answering for that statement after group stage.
Okay. Wow.
Hey, thanks for letting me do this. Again, this is way different than your usual thing because I'm an idiot and I just like to have fun.
Oh,
but
no, I mean...
it's really fun to be here, and a ton of respect for you, of course, for everything. Not just that you did for us, but just in general who you are and what you do. So really appreciate it. It's fun to hang out with you, and thanks for letting me do that.
Yeah, no, it was really fun. Like I said, long time 100 TalkPod viewer, so I was like, you know what? I want someone who's just gonna say nice things about 100 Thieves. That's what I want, because otherwise I'll become
Too bad I can't fight.
I'll become super negative. So.
I was gonna say, too bad I can't fight the fight for the whole stream. It's actually hilarious. Well, just one more thing. It's actually hilarious because this is definitely not the role I play on my own stream. I'm actually like the more negative one.
Jordan's a little bit more positive. So unfortunately, he couldn't be here. But
I'm the one who predicted 100 Thieves 0-3 against TL in the finals. So you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but it's a lot of fun. Again, wish you the best next 2 hours or so of your stream, and I can't wait for Worlds.
Yeah,
we'll be watching.
Worlds will be good. All right, talk soon.
Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you, chat. See you guys.
Yep. Okay, chat. You might be thinking, that now we're just stuck with Kelsey for 2 hours. But we may have a backup guest situation because I come prepared for these types of things, So, one sec. So this is Alright, thank you for the gifted subs, Cole. That's great. Thank you very much. 10 subs? Very nice. Very generous. Oh, hello. Okay, so I am joined by my backup guest, my second guest. Not backup with zero bad negative connotations. Okay.
No, it's all good. Don't worry about it.
We have the Maryville head coach Zoo.
Howdy.
Hello. Who's going to come watch the rest of the 100 Thieves VOD review. We managed to get through one game. I don't know if you know how my VOD reviews go. But yeah, a lot of...
some move fast, some move quite slow.
Yes. So that's all, it's basically where we are. So, I will warn you that my chat is making a Kelsey stream guest tier list. So, no pressure.
All right.
No pressure.
Well, hopefully I have Jet on my side to start, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, there you go. So we are watching currently C9 versus 100. I don't know if you've been watching or not, but we can also
I was watching a bit.
Can also derail and watch a different VOD if you think it's going to give us more insight or more information.
Yeah, I mean, I think just going off your point, what you were saying in the previous game, where in mid game they tend to kind of use their tempo to focus the wrong side of the map, or just kind of like double down the same side and just play to like recapture. I think there was some of that in this game as well.
Okay.
Mid game, and there were times, I believe it was like 20 minutes,
Okay.
where they just put too much time onto their top side of the map, where Baron's just up and they're versus TF and a poke Varus, so I don't even think Baron is like a real threat. And they use that time to just sit in their vision instead of helping Renekton push all the way out, and then just being able to create like a big timer where you have control of topside and your bot wave is fully pushed out.
Okay,
Sorry,
so
I just like ate breakfast and burping like a monster.
we'll go back to them coming out of base before the Baron spawn.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of look for that. So right now, zero context. We're about all right. Enjoy the soccer game, Cole. It was nice to have you around. So all right, we've got the we're set up on top side as C9, right? We're in control. 100 Thieves coming back out. So here, like they've got the bot wave in. Abadaga recalling. So I would assume that based on I don't actually know C9 recalls, so I'm gonna go back even further. So I think C9 coming out of base here, right? So probably they're not looking for recall, but they are up in tempo, and they are taking the side. So this is actually after Abadaga gets his spot wave. This actually is kind of their window to match, and the recalls are a bit earlier, so they can retake top right now. Let's see. I would assume that C9 are backing.
Yeah, they back and then they back and then they use the timer here to push out bot. With this timer, I believe Hunter sweeps out flank wards and then they get control of top side. But then after that, instead of shifting back to bot, to push out and then trade for some river control and then just like be able to fight for it back with numbers advantage, they just kind of stay on this side of the map, and it's super odd to me, so they get this side all the way pushed out and they're essentially now even. I'd imagine with C9 they can just do the same thing, push out bot again, and then be able to fight for the Baron control. I feel like they were either felt like they could do Baron, which I don't feel like is true, or they felt like maybe they were nervous to go bot side because of TF, and then maybe there's no way they're scared of a Baron pull from C9, like with TF and poke Varus.
Yeah, they definitely shouldn't be. What I'm looking for here is like set up on a mid force, which is what they're doing. Because they see Fudge top here, and technically Sunday has a window, so that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So this is
just like they didn't really have like good ward. I guess the ward.
This is not bad, right? And then they use vision. So I'm agreeing with you. Like after this, they probably shouldn't siege this turret. They don't have good guns. They don't have a wave. So they should recall
they should just be
and shift. They should be shifting into bot side off of this control.
Yeah, and this is where they're just staying on the map, and then they're just playing for top side. Like this feels super odd to me. Like you get that quick pick where. You get that quick pick mid, you play for tempo instead of cracking tier 1, and then you just get the first push out bot, so you don't have to use TP ever, and then you force them to walk into.
The weird things here is that they're showing like on all 3 waves, so this gives a window for C9 to look for catch mid.
Yeah.
They don't have like if this so Vulcan clearly sees the angle here, right? If they were in better position, right, where it's like, oh, FBI is hitting this wave, he's here, and like the rest of the team are in good position, then this play probably works out pretty well.
Yeah, and I feel like the reason they have to push 3 lanes like this in the first place is because maybe they realized they should have taken their bases and they just need to get their waves fixed before they get back on map.
So I think that this is okay because they got the top wave in all the way, because they don't have to push this next top wave because they already got it, right? So
yeah, that's fair.
I think this is where you either so there are two things that you can do because you got this pick on Blapper, right? So the main thing is you want to contest this next midwave coming in. So I think it's not bad to look top because you just killed someone, so you have numbers advantage. So you can actually like look to maybe grade tempo a bit and then siege top T2. Let me look at Dragon State. Yeah, like so we're not even too scared. Like Dragon is not even relevant, right? So I think like what you can do is you can just like hard shift into the top side and siege top T2, right? And then just ignore, and just ignore bot wave. So that's like one option. The other option is that they can recall and start taking bot side vision and push that out all the way. But what they do is that they don't really make a choice, right? Like Renekton gets one wave. They're all hitting contesting 3 waves at once. So this is just like disorganized.
Absolutely. That's where I feel like the fact that they have to hit 3 waves like that, it feels like they realize they kind of just didn't really commit to anything and they just need to salvage the wave state and then just like restart it. You know, restart the sequence essentially. But yeah, I agree. That definitely makes sense. It definitely makes sense. I just feel like, especially, I don't know if your opinion is any different, like with the TF. It's just, I feel like when playing versus TF, I try to take tempo bases and send 3 to side lane, like first, as often as possible, just to try to mitigate like the amount of pressure that he's able to put, you know, when we're trying to fix side lanes before neutrals.
Push out into the TF lane. Like I think it was like 2:30 for Drake spawn, which that's the window where typically you are like still on top wave, and then like you recall like about 2 minutes before, and then you're on bot wave, and then you're back on top wave again. So I think generally speaking, it's okay, but I only want to. So you have like 2 options, right? You either do like what I read it is exactly describe hedging. Why does this come up every stream? Anyway,
Jesus,
either you play like 3 lanes, like really, really aggressively and don't care who gets forced on, right? Which is more like I actually associate
like 2018 IG.
So I say IG, but I actually associate this with like top laners who play for Coma. Because I think that this is like every team that Coma has coached, like the top laner plays like this. There's that like approach, which is like very, very reliant on that type of hedging, or you talk about or you play like 2 lanes. I think if you've already gotten a pick, you should play 2 lanes, just because it's way more efficient that way. What is Zoo's opinion on Cryan? Okay, they're just gonna ask you random questions because
RNG is an enigma because I love the way that they're so self-confident in their own picks that are sometimes / often pretty shit, but they just are so incredibly talented mechanically and they hit their timers like no one's business. So I feel like the laning in itself might leave some to be desired at times, but I just think RNG's like biggest strength overall is that their mid jungle hits timers insanely well. But yeah. Anyways.
All right. So is your opinion of Cryan good or bad?
I would say like a 7 out of 10.
Okay. Let's take. My chat hates Cryan, so just throwing that out there. Would you okay, but while we're on a pause, I'm gonna ask you for your playlist word. So do you know how that works, or should I explain?
So just give you like a vibe word.
Yeah, just any kind of word. It doesn't have to be a vibe. We've done beans, we've done rice, you know. It's just like a word that a small child would understand usually. Has success being something that gets pulled up. So anything that you want, really. Cole went with hype, but we've had all sorts of suggestions, and they usually have something. So,
all right, let's do something like sunny, like nice and bright, like sunny.
Okay,
yeah,
I like that.
It's nice out right now. I got the window open.
We've got 323 songs associated with Sunny. So there we are.
I'm a big fan of crying. Thanks for asking.
Zeus
Quite the
opinion of
enthusiast.
crying. Crying is the best. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, so the reason why I brought up that one at 20 minutes was, you know, I definitely see the value of, you know, like pushing the sliding scale, going for that tier 2 that's pushed in there. Especially when if you spend more time on the map, you're not necessarily scared of them like insta-pulling a Baron or anything like that. I just feel like when they get to like the 26 to 28 mark or so, it feels like they're just fully pinned on their side of the map, and it feels like they don't hard commit to pushing out one side of the map. Seems like they're kind of just trying to cover all three while they're down tempo a bit, and it just seemed like those two situations kind of
they don't really
shared theme.
drag people, right? They aren't trying, like, they can't really succeed playing pick comps because they're not really in a situation where they're using like tempo advantages to drag people across the map, right? They're very much focused on, we're gonna control a side, we're forcing you to like try to face check us with your agency, and we're willing to like basically sack one person. And I think that often ends up being Someday who gets sacked, right? And that's why it often also feels like Someday is like over pushing one side, just because the way that they're approaching macro is either like, I mean, they're over pushing one side, but there's often not like a good trade setup when they are. In that case, I think that it was okay. Like, there's no way that C9 is gonna shift into Someday's lane when the wave on top was set up like that. But I've seen a lot of cases where like Someday will over push one side and they'll all be like greeting tempo on the opposite side, so there isn't actually like a good play to be made.
No, I 100% agree, and that's got me a little concerned for Worlds, especially when, you know, there are some mid laners out there that will just hover their side laners super well, like off deploy, and you know, I'm worried about, you know, especially with 100 Thieves where they path top so often, especially if they're able to get their patented like 3-man dive, either 4th wave or 530, like, I feel like if they get that strength, it's like, okay, they're putting that strength into their top so that he can maybe win side lane on his own and have his own 1v1 agency. But like, what happens then when, you know, support, like just like quality supports or quality mids are able to like hover off good timers and help push out? If you're not a team that's good at like effectively pushing out sides, in my opinion, it's going to be really hard to actually consistently control river on either side of the map against like these good teams. And then if you don't control river, you're just going to get flanked a million times, in my opinion, like when it comes to all the neutrals. It feels like a systemic issue to them a little bit, where it's like they're half committing to like how to set up their side lane.
So now, I went back to like the minute before Dragon Spawn just so we can talk systemic. Indeed, it's part of their system, right? It feels like it's part of how they want to play, which is really interesting. Because I don't really see the logic in it personally, but it's like clearly part of just part of how they play. And either it's like
it could be something with scrims. Like honestly, it could just be that like so many of their early timers work out that Someday's usually so fucking fed, like he just doesn't need much help pushing outside. Like maybe it's a thing they implement or something. I'm not really too sure, but
I will say from my experience, Someday has a tendency to rage split, which, you know, happens. But that's not every game, right? Like sometimes you're winning, so it doesn't matter. But it is just like a tendency that he has.
That's fair.
I think that sometimes that's okay because you can pull pressure, but it's just the coordination of the times which they do it that's sometimes pretty bad. So the other thing here is like, okay, so we're a minute before Dragon. Thank you for the sub, by the way, Orange Criminal. You have a lot of places for Prime. Thank you for using it here. I appreciate it so much. And then we've got Orianna catching top wave on this window, able to, like, this is the window where you want to get, like, you want top wave to be crashing at the top T2 like about this timer, right? If it's not happening, I'm like okay giving this Drake setup and playing for topside control, especially since you're Aphelios. You've got 2 Drakes already. You actually do have Baron threat, right? Like, realistically speaking. So you can do a lot of damage by just, like, hard committing to topside on this window. But I'm pretty sure 100 Thieves... But, like, Orianna gets top wave, and then they try to, like, phase check contest C9's vision here.
Yeah, I feel like just going off that context, like trying to tie it back to the larger issue, you know, just that's a like big thing with collegiate coaching. You kind of just get like warped into the mind of just trying to think big picture all the time, and it's like it seems like to me that if you were to do it from like 0, 25, 50, 75, 100, like they never really 100% push out and pressure the side that they need to, in my opinion. Like, I feel like they're always going maybe like 75% of the way. Like, Ori can very easily get that extra wave. It just feels like, you know, they're always one wave too short on their push out, or like, you know, they commit one wave or they dip out like one wave too early, or, you know, they just don't like hard commit to that side. Because I think that trade play, like you said, is significantly better. Because in my opinion,
you want to, as Orianna Aphelios, you want to like bait them into walking into you, right? Especially because you're dealing with like Varus Oak, long range engage from Bard. The fact that TF has ulti. I don't think TF had ulti at the start of the... Yes, TF had ulti at the start of this play. But you can get that situation way more favorably and look to bait like Blues and TF ulti by pulling Baron on a side you have control over and sacrificing this Drake. If you're walking into them, they're just going to stand in their vision and use their range advantage to kill you. So, I don't know. It's a very weird decision that was made.
When I was scrubbing through their playoff odds, it seemed like that they never really utilized the full side lane advantage, especially when they had double TPs. Because, like, especially there, if they make that trade play and then they just go cover bot tier 2, like after post Drake, then Viego Renekton in the 1v1 is like, I don't really think either one of them is going to be shredding turrets in front of the other one's face anytime soon. So, you know, like, you want to be able to get those flank angles. If you get that push out, you trade sides, you're going to get all your flank wards, and then you can immediately contest when they try to recontrol. And it just feels like that's the best way to play out this side lane scenario. You know, you're not going to 2v1 dive Viego with Renekton, and you're not going to like be able to take turrets in front of each other 1v1. So you just want the flanks. And it just feels weird.
Yeah, you wanna fight that you can set up on your terms, like be able to bait the TF ulti on one rotation and then do it again on the next one and get the fight that you want, right? So
yeah, that's why prioritizing the Baron side control I feel like is so important, because you can give it for the TF ult and then retake it instead of having to like try to claim it off the TF ult the second time.
The general rule is like if you don't have the wave in 45 seconds before Drake spawns, you just don't contest Drake really on top side, right? That's like the kind of loose rule. And instead you play for whatever you can trade for. And if you're gonna pull Baron, C9 might get the Drake, but they're gonna go run to Baron. They don't want to test that Orianna and Aphelios can't do it, you know. They're not gonna do that.
Yeah, so it just felt like leading up into this next Ocean Drake. This is where I felt like they really felt pinned on their side of the map, and this is where I felt like the issues from earlier were starting to fuck them over a bit. Where when you're in this sort of position, you have to play purely reactive. It's just like you're waiting for the other team to overreach in a choke, essentially. I feel like that's all you're doing. And you're just playing like purely reactive, and Yeah, I don't know. It's I think there's a lot of, I mean, I've so far since I've come on, I have really only said like somewhat negative things or critiques, but
we traded in the hopium for the for the shittium, as my stream likes to call it.
yeah, like I don't want to be a negative Nancy or anything, but it's just the fact that I really enjoy this team's ability to play through top early and to like utilize early dives and be able to transfer pressure better than some teams early, but it just feels like it's not being used to its potential in mid game. It just makes it like, it makes you think like, is the early game plan the best for them if they're not going to be able to translate that pressure like in mid game super effectively?
I just want to, because it's like they're kind of a rotation late to retake top. Like this would be a window where it's like, okay, they're giving top vision to go bot if they don't get their brand play off, and then so they're catching top here, and they're putting themselves constantly in a position where they're behind tempo just because of the lanes and the sides that they choose to go to. But then, like, okay, we know that TF has used ulti here. I'm just kind of watching this, like, how do we end up in an open lane mid-fight? Why is that the play? And I think that's just everyone is doing the classic, like, we need to contest mid-prio here. When you only need one person under tower really to catch this wave. Like, you're catching mid-wave low on this for sure. And then you're looking to... I think, like, the problem is that they went topside initially when... they got like one wave and rotated.
Yeah.
Which is okay, but like theoretically,
that's kind of the thing I was saying earlier, where it's like it feels like they just they never get full value out of their timers, like to push. They kind of, it's just one wave instead of two here, you know, like it just.
The nice thing is that they baited the TF ult. So now that they know that there's no TF ult, right? They are having someone catch mid-wave, and then they're getting they should like focus on getting a timer for Renekton, because they have like huge TP advantage, right, on one soul laner. So you want Renekton on bot wave already, pretty much, because it's on your side, it's pretty safe, you see them all mid, you can start pushing bot wave here. But they're just like standing, getting poked on the mid wave, which is very weird.
And like major emphasis on the fact too that they should not be scared of C9's Baron in the slightest.
And it's like it's such that like Fudge is doing this better, right? Like Fudge is seeing like the window. Like I push out this wave and I have window to fight mid when Someday has to answer this bot wave, because Someday is not using his timer to get bot wave. And then 100 Thieves are just like running at like all this crowd. They're running at like all this range advantage just in an open fight, looking for something that they're not gonna get, which I find very weird, because you could be getting a window, right? Like you could be securing a window. Instead they're like, why did Someday pop ult and look for that? Like basically the only thing would be is if there are a few flashes on C9, so I can kind of see the reasoning. Like if I flash ult at them, it's not bad.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
But you also have like TF gold card. You have what kind of fucked him over, which was I have terrible time remembering item names all the time. The glacial item. And then
Everfrost.
Yes, Everfrost. And then you have like all of these kind of other things. You still have like the Bard. So you have Bard Snare, you have a lot of kiting, right? That's gonna come out of C9, and you're just kind of popping ult and running at them. So I find that it's just weird.
Yeah.
That's the best way
and
to
like
put it.
with this in particular, like I don't think 100 Thieves is always like this. So I actually think the game that you guys were going over before I hopped on, the game where they have Shen and LeBlanc, I had written some notes that it's like when I was scrubbing through these playoff odds that Abadage is the one that like has that it factor for me in side lane, that this team needs to like really exert pressure inside. And you know, he tends to like, he'll overreach a bit sometimes, but like, you know, he's kind of that that hedging side laner, if we want to call that. And I felt like putting Someday on the Shen and being able to just have him respond. There was a play in particular where they could take tier 2 bot, and like Someday was ready to Shen'll, and Abadage was like Wing under the turret, zoning the guy. And it's like, that's the type of pressure that I feel like they need from like both their side laners, especially if they're gonna consistently like path top. Or not, it's not like the solo laner is not the one putting out the pressure, but like I feel like the team needs to play around both their solos like that. And Abadage just plays it like really aggressively, which is nice. Like when they get the right champions for it, I feel like they do it really well. When they're on more like control champs, I feel like they're more like neutered.
So this is the window on the Drake that we were talking about. So after they expend cooldowns and then they lose their windows on mid, that's when they decide, okay, we need to like take control of one side, but they could have been like ahead on this, right? They could have been ahead on Dragon side. And instead it's like, okay, now they're making a more intelligent decision, which is we can't contest Drake. So we're actually going to retake top. But the problem is that they played on the when they had no window, and now they are trying to take a window when C9 are ahead on the map. And this is a situation where they have to kind of like allocate some resources to the defensive play just because they are behind on tempo, right? So this is like kind of sucks, right? This map stage just sucks. But at least this is a situation where they are looking for a trade, even if they can't like make a perfect one, and they do have to play a bit more defensively.
Yeah, like if Lee was covering Renekton here or something, I'd be a lot more concerned, you know? It at least shows they're trying to get the side pushed out and all that. But
yeah, because now they're actually up, right?
Worried.
Now they're actually up. When before, for that entire window we were looking at, they were behind. And they are going through mid and bot here, which is what they should be doing. So they're actually playing this like well.
Totally.
At this point, they're doing the thing that you would want them to do.
Yeah, totally. No TF ult. They can play really aggressive. This is their timer to push outside.
Oh no, we're going top. Never mind.
This is exactly what I'm saying. Like, yeah, so this was the timer really where it's like for the past like 2-3 minutes, it just, they're not hard committing to one side. And I feel like I had it in my notes, but like the TF ult being down in particular and still deciding to deploy like this, or rather not even deploy like this, they deployed ready and then they adapted and into the wrong decision. You know, like, you know, they audibled into a poor call, in my opinion. And it like, it has me really confused as to like what their thought process is.
Because they're ahead on the map here because they already have like numbers on the side that they want to play, whereas C9 want to play this top side now. And like we could be pushing out because Orianna has TP, right? So you can always already be playing like pretty aggro here. Like I think that looking for because Perks was like trying to port even to catch up on tempo, right? And Someday canceled it, which all of that is like really nice. But so they could be playing super hard into this bot side because they're up.
Yeah,
they're even getting this mid wave.
You have a huge window here, like.
And they're just gonna send Abadage back top now. And Renekton's gonna shadow. It's very weird. I'm trying to understand the logic.
The thing about it that especially that has me like, if I was breaking this game down a bit more, is just thinking about how like their champs function into one another too. And it's like when you have no hard engage because you have like Braum and Renekton, which I think is fine. You know, it's the setup's like, I wouldn't say pristine, but it's definitely functionable. Like, you know, you can win with this for sure. And you need to be able to, and with those sorts of champs, like you need to be able to pressure chokes first, and then you need to be able to create flanks. And it's like, if you're constantly arriving to river second, and you're not using your TPs aggressively, on like residual wards and stuff like that, then what's your plan to control the important neutrals in the game. You know, I feel like they're just kind of having to play reactive. And yeah, like game one, it felt like kind of the same thing. Like C9 had control, and then it was just a couple Baron situations where 100 Thieves were able to win the team fight. And it feels like there's a little bit of like a reliance on like Aphelios to execute like this. You know, like this is exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And now they 5-stack.
they're doing the thing
and
again where they're like chasing into C9
Yeah.
with their comp, and then I guess C9 just int. Like the fact that you
Yeah.
get the Renekton ulti here, like I don't think you have to look for a flank and chase back into them. Like you don't want a C9, you're really happy with this and perks popping ult, that's okay, but I don't think you have to like port anywhere behind them. Like you shouldn't be chasing them here. You should be, okay, we got Renekton ult, that's good for us, we maintain this control. And
Especially TPing into this play.
right,
You know,
try to bait them in again. It's just very weird. It's like this idea that I think you and I have talked about this a little bit before. It's just like even high level players in LCS don't really understand the win conditions of their champions. Like it's and how their comps want to play out sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, not to go off on too much of a tangent, but I feel like that's also there's an issue with players understanding going into practice what it is they're picking a champ for, and not game purpose like we were just talking about, but like understanding why if you pick Orianna in 5 scrim games in a row in that day, like you're not picking it for the mechanical practice primarily. Now that's certainly a factor, but you're doing it because you actually have to like play these champions fucking differently. And if you're not sitting down in like a meeting and you're saying, okay, like this is how we want to position in fights, like with these sorts of champs, or like we need flanks with these sorts of like side laners, so we need to practice our flanking ability, you know, break it down, all that stuff. Like players don't really understand that. They're kind of just, I feel like a lot of players don't rather, and they're kind of just like playing it, or at least players at the collegiate and amateur level just get bored of playing the same champ multiple times in a row because they're comfortable in the champ and they want to practice other ones, but they're not thinking about like the actual intricacies of the uniqueness of that champ and how to execute it differently than like the other champs. It's weird.
There's I think there's a bit of it. It's like definitely comes down to getting huge leads in solo queue. You can kind of just like face tank whatever and win the game. Based off of lane phase, and so that's like a mentality of playing the game that every player has in transitioning into competitive, and you kind of just never get over because that's how you got scouted in the first place.
It's just like it's just practice purpose. That's all. It's just having like practice mentality and having a preset purpose that people are on the same page about, and it just feels like it's not as common as it should be at the developmental levels, at least.
Well, now Miracle wants to know your opinion on the Gen G logo, which I think you've already been spoiled as to how that influences the ranking.
Yeah, so. I do not like it.
There you go. Okay, we've got so you're down on the Cryon point, up on the Gen G point. Okay, we're good to go.
I think you guys think too hard on someone who's playing on one of the best teams in the world. Let's have a little bit of perspective here.
All right, so we're.
I called one of the best. I called the mid for one of the best teams in the world a 7 out of 10, guys. It's not that much of a reach.
Pleading the fifth there. I think Pride is not great, but you know, TF is a good champion and he has good TF timers, so I will give that to him.
Yes. Like we were saying it earlier, it's just I respect their ability to hit timers. I mean, Wei is fucking flashing over walls to hit 5 timers. Like,
do we have to walk up into the mid lane like this? This is a C9 point, obviously, but we just don't. We don't, right? Like, it's I'm confused.
No, when I'm coaching at you know, new groups and stuff like that, I say there's like always 3 things certain in League. It's like death, taxes, and people stepping up high on mid for absolutely no reason.
And there wasn't
It's
even
just
a
like
wave
it's like
there.
there's
I
a
don't know.
magnet. There's like a magnet in your pocket that just pulls you to the wave. It
But
just
there
pulls
wasn't
you.
even a wave there, though. That's like
I
the
know,
thing.
but they're
It's
going
just-
to the next wave. They're going to
But
the
the
next
wave
wave.
is like in Africa. Like it's
No,
not even
they
on
feel
the
it.
screen.
No, they feel it at the tier 2, and they need to go. Those extra 4 seconds are going to make a difference.
Apparently, so Miraki brings up a good point. 7 out of 10 is not Mao's ulting an unstoppable Olaf. Just
All right, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. That's like a -6. There are no metrics for that.
Cryan just has a lot of moments like that are really
Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's fair.
questionable. He's definitely like if I'm just thinking like purely on overall package, he's on the lower end of major region mids attending worlds for sure. So yeah.
Fair.
All right, we got the. He genuinely probably can't play Liz abilities. True.
Jeez. All right. Yeah, I'll put it this way. I don't think he's terrible, but I definitely watch RNG for not mid. I watch it for their jungle support and top.
This is so now like because Perks died, we just get Baron.
Yeah, like this is kind of like what has me like a little nervous, and I mean I think the staff at 100 Thieves is really solid. So I mean I'm sure they're aware of this stuff.
Oh
and,
yeah,
maybe
they definitely are.
Yeah, for sure. Like I don't think it's some like crazy point. Like it's something they've probably hit in practice and will continue to hit and just make adaptations. It's just I'm interested to see like how much they can improve like the decisiveness of their mid game, especially when they're playing, God forbid you get matched up against players like Duanby and stuff that will just pull on the drop of a hat.
Sucks, right? Because right now Closer's not even boot camping with them yet, so sucks.
Oh, I didn't know that was the situation.
He's still in the US right now.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks. But yeah, it feels like if Abadage is not on a prio mid. So I know like earlier in the playoffs, I think one of 100 Thieves like Kryptonite champions was Syndra. And I know like at least EG's approach, it kind of seemed like when EG was playing them was to punish FBI and put him on Aphelios and then just like play for range. So they played like Ashe, they first rotation Leona, banned Ezreal, like all this, banned Callista, all this stuff. And it I'm kind of just concerned with, okay, if they don't get Rise, or if somebody can play like something into Rise or level 2 gank Rise, or their enemy bot gets prio and the Braum can roam at level 2, like if they can't get those early dives off with mid prio and he's on like an Ori or something that can pressure side, like where really is their like hard pressure point? And someday if he's strong enough to just win the side lane 1v1, which he has done many times in the past, like I'm sure that can be a pressure point, but
we're all 5 committing on mid with Baron as well. So there's no wave to shift to prep. It's fine.
Yeah, it just seems like they're pushing. It feels like a 75% essentially, where it's just like they're 3/4 committing to everything they're doing, and it just feels like they're able to always stay in the game, but they never have complete control unless they're like 100% snowballed from early.
It's like a night and day. Is their hoodie sales? Okay.
It's like a night and day. It's like a night and day difference though when they get like the prio. When they get when they get the triple sack wave top, and then they get Rise and Viego and can just
No.
3-man top. It's just over.
I just want to say this sequence of unfortunate ability usage has been.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
a single ult did anything. We got like the Braum ult that is used. This is so sad.
What an unfortunate thing to.
The
Baron
no
was
one
a
is
little
looking
weird.
to engage into you here. What is this Braum ult? Then we've got like Oriana ult completely whiffed. Bartle preserves the cannon. I don't know what's happening. Just really unfortunate sequence of events. And then now there's no ult, so 100 Thieves just look to go in.
Yeah.
Which is, well, just awkward. Alright.
It feels like C9 gave them a lot of opportunities, like by overreaching. And I really hate saying like if a team were just play cleaner, it wouldn't be an issue because it's such a bullshit thing to say. But it just felt like C9 was a bit like itchy with the trigger finger, and when you're playing
like
a Peleos or a Braum, it's almost foolproof in team fights.
Well, it's like they just run at them, right? Again, like this is another thing where it's either team just runs is gonna lose. And you already lost the Oriole, right? Like you whiffed the first Oriole in that fight.
Mm.
So why are you kind of chasing now when anyone you don't kill, like all the way, they chase all the way to this T2. And as long as Varus is alive, it's really hard to do this. So I don't know, it's just this kind of weird awareness. And it's not just NA teams that play fights like this though, like there's a lot of teams that don't really execute their win cons perfectly, just because it's like in the heat of the moment you see someone blow an ulti and you're like, we can win, right? Or like Perks is behind us, so we just should chase into the 4, right? And he's split off, so he can't really do much. And that looks like a good thing, but when you chase all the way to T2, you're just like grading a bit, and Varus is fine to just sit under tower and throw pot shots at you. And then of course Varus ulti came back off cooldown too. So it's possible that they just weren't tracking that because they had traded it for Brummel. And Varus ulti is really low cooldown.
To answer, somebody had mentioned that Freeze said in an interview that they have been watching Mad VODs to improve their mid game. Does this change my opinion at all? Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I want to see like the changes in place, but I think Freeze is really smart, and I think Mad Lions have a really good mid game. So that's certainly a great thing to construct and replicate.
I know from talking to like members of their staff, right? They studying like international VODs is just what has been done all year, and they watch a lot, and which is normal for a lot of teams to just watch a lot of VODs. Studying the VODs doesn't immediately translate into improvement. It can translate into improvement, but again, it's like one of those things where I'm sure that they've been watching Mad VODs all year, and they've been looking and working on and trying to apply these concepts, right? Because from the very beginning, mid-game was a problem, right? So...
And you gotta ask yourself, like, do the players not know this, or is it just like, are we unable to execute it? And a lot of times people think we just say shit thinking that like the pro players just don't know it, but it's like we're aware that the teams and everyone know this stuff. It's just like just has to come down to like practicing with good purpose and having a good plan and just being able to get reps in like your weak spots, you know, being able to like be really strict with your conditions in practice and like set up your formula ahead of time and like, you know, have the coach walk you through it if you're at more of like a developmental level. Shit like that.
I mean, everyone is at a developmental level. League of Legends is a 10-year-old game.
Yeah, that's
but
true. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's just like what is?
Yeah, there's no experience.
What is this? I just don't like. Why are we doing this? I don't know.
Yeah, I just.
This is the same thing the entire game.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got to channel positive Kelsey here. Let's close out strong. But I just don't know what this is. I keep. They've done this the entire game where they've just tried to run at people in mid, and it hasn't worked out for them at all. So at a certain point, you come out of base and say, yeah, we need to change the way we're taking fights. Like, this happens all the time. Like, you fuck up your comp fight, like, in mid-game once or twice, and then you're like, we can't fight open mid. And, like, we need to set up a good flank for Renekton. But they're just not making that connection, which is very strange. They did, like, it even looked like they were going to set up around Dragon proactively and have them run into them at one point, but they just didn't, and I find this very bizarre. It's kind of like there's almost no recalibrating of like how they're thinking about these things in the middle of the game, and maybe that's just part of it, is that they can't really adjust too much. And that happens sometimes. Like sometimes you just like tunnel vision on how you're doing things and you don't adjust to the play.
Sometimes it's tough to adjust. Sometimes sometimes there's, you know, sometimes you learn how to call something based on certain conditions, and then in the game there's different conditions, and so because of that, you're aware of what you would need to do, but because the conditions are unique to what you practice, you know, maybe someone's a lot further behind than you expected, or maybe you don't have any lanes pushing out, and you're used to having like 1 or 2 lanes pushed out before calling it, you know, stuff like that. It really just straight up comes down to how many quality reps you can get of it in practice. It has to be at like a subconscious like understanding that they can do it under pressure.
And it kind of depends on your philosophy as a team. It's like, do we really focus on improving the things we're good at, or do we want to fix the problems? And that sometimes teams just like ignore their problems and just try to make their strengths like perfect, right? And that's I kind of like that sometimes. I know that this is a big philosophy in the LPL because we talked about this in the Beyond Gaming review, because we had Clement, and Clement is casted both regions, and so it's like this idea of you're constantly traveling, so you have very little scrim time, so sometimes the most efficient use of your time is to perfect what you're good at, right?
Plus, when accelerating your advantages gets you so much more because your advantages are so incredibly skilled. Like, like I know a player that pops up in my head is Cream, where they were just putting him on Silas as much as possible. And you know, the melees, and I believe he had like a Kiana game as well, and the guy just like absolutely smurfed it.
I think also just because when you have a rookie, it's easier for like the teammates to set him up on his strengths, right? So
exactly.
So that's another but it's just a lot of stuff where, like, I've always said that LPL is their philosophy always almost like LPL team culture is almost always like, let's accelerate our advantages and get really good at those, right? And then they almost never address their weaknesses, so they just always have the same weaknesses as long as the roster exists. But if you are drafting specifically to counter their weaknesses, then they feel confident that they'll just be that much better at their strengths and at the type of composition that they want to play, because that's all they play. Whereas I think there's a lot more focus on fixing weaknesses in NA, and I think maybe this year it was bad to have that, because this year we had less scrim time in LCS, right? You have less scrim time. You have 3 days of scrims as opposed to 4. So more reasonable last year to say, okay, we're really going to work on our weaknesses today. And I feel like 100 Thieves kind of looks like the team that worked more on their weaknesses than on their strengths, because I feel like their early game has stayed about the same, more or less, but you've seen like subtle improvements in the way they play mid. Like I see someday grading less on timers, but now this means that their mid game is like way more stabilization based, which you could say is an improvement or not, but it's at least different, right? So I guess that's kind of when I see 100 Thieves, that's what I think about. And I'm curious if they would have just been better suited at like consistently, you know, just making sure their snowball was that good. You know? I just kind of wonder about stuff like that.
I think so. Personally, I think that's what they should have done. That was actually funny enough. You brought up like that comparison. That was one of like my main gripes. Not to go off on like a different level of play, but that was one of my main gripes with Proving Grounds when it was first starting, the team part of it. You know, like the summer competition. I felt like there was way too much of an emphasis on winning, and you would see like a bunch of teams just drafting stuff. In my opinion, was really poor, and you know the weaknesses were pretty consistent throughout, from like beginning of summer to end of summer, and people were really like nailing themselves in stylistically, and it just felt like people were trying to not lose, you know, and like it felt kind of like fake development in a sense, whereas like this year feels significantly different. You know, this year it felt like, especially with a lot of the franchises getting involved and, you know, more things going on, and like, you know, just more academy amateur scrims and TR use and all that stuff. It feels a lot better this year, at least.
I know at the start of the season it felt hard just because there was so few scrims, right? So few scrim opportunities, but I think summer it's a little bit, it's better, right? So
yeah, definitely. But
and I think it is like you can't really play because they don't have like clear guaranteed engage in their drafts. And I think this is part of why people are like shit on the Ornn when 100 Thieves play. But I think to an extent the way that they play, which is constantly kind of like matching tempo as opposed to creating their own windows, you kind of have to look for more guaranteed sources of engage. You can't really play like Brunectin, because
there was
then you're constantly chasing into the enemy team's side if you're always just playing like the stabilizing mid game and matching enemy team strong side. So yeah, I find that very weird.
Their series versus oh shit, what series was it? I think it was their series versus TL, where, you know, banning Trundle for them and then being able to prioritize engage consistently was really big. And then there was a different one where there was one game in playoffs where they played Trundle support, and they looked so incredibly uncomfortable.
Yeah, like
with that, like they looked like
Trundle.
Just the difference between Rel and Trundle for them was like night and day.
Like Braum and Trundle are supports that they don't really seem to do incredibly well with, just because you do kind of have to be engaging into the enemy team. So having things like long range engage tools, things like that, like Leona, Nautilus is going to be better for 100 Thieves in the way that they play. If we're talking about like band-aid solutions.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. The Ornn like definitely makes sense for them. The only thing that's like weird is like they had a game. What was it?
Was it the last game versus TL, or?
It was
in the first round.
I'm looking. Sorry, I'm looking to see. I took notes on it somewhere. It was when they were playing Ornn into Jace. I think it might have been Alphari's Jace. It was probably TL series.
But
like they got.
I think we've gotten a lot of mileage out of this game.
It was It was first pick Varus. It was I think TL had first pick first pick Syndra rather, and then they had Varus and Jace. And then I believe let's see. It might have just been game 1 of the first time they played each other.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was that game where they had like the Ornn. And this game, it's like, okay, if they're taking Varus and they have Varus Rel into the Aphelios and Leona, I'm pretty sure that Varus gets prio in that lane, or the Varus Rel get prio in that lane, and then the Jace is going to get prio as well, and then the Syndra, I feel like can either get a 3-wave visit by jungle into topside dive, or she can create her own prio and then go top. So it's like in situations like this where they don't really have an aggressive side lane gank option, either on a dive or like an early gank, it feels like their early game doesn't really have much gas in it. Like 100 Thieves here, they had closer pathing top just to cover the dive. And then I think he gets like double scuttled in the game.
If they basically have 3 lanes of prio here again, like TL. Because that's what happens when you like first pick Aphelios. You're often not going to get prio bot, right?
I feel like TL did this super well. Like TL did this really well because EG
and they early picked Aphelios into Syndra, which is like guaranteed mid prio, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, like so, I closer paths top here just to cover the dive, but it's like they don't really have any options, and it was weird. I definitely felt like if they had a bit of an Aphelios like crutch to an extent in playoffs, and I teams felt really aware of this. Like that was one of the biggest things I saw in draft, where it was teams struggling versus 100 Thieves and eventually just started banning Aphelios. Like, but the teams that succeeded were always the teams that were able to play 2-3 range advantage champs, and they were able to take away Peel. So Braum, Thresh.
Yeah, they play. I mean, range advantage, like we just saw in the last game, why range advantage is king in NA. They just run mid as 5 and look at each other. So, I think we should invest in some Xerath, guys. Okay, so here, like I think if I am closer, I am expected to get double scuttled with this draft. That's just the way my life is today. So I am probably going to look for a lane gank. So
I'm trying to flip it when they're going for the second scuttle. I'm trying to flip it on the opposite side.
So it just kind of depends on which lane I think I'm more likely to get that on. And then maybe it could even be mid because you have good setup in mid.
I'd agree with that.
Like you can, I think reasonably speaking, like his best bet is not even to, wait for the double scuttle angle. It's to 3 camp.
Yeah, 3 camp mid.
Yeah, 3 camp mid. Look for something because then you can shift into the opposite side with Rise TP and you can get yourself a scuttle, right? So that's kind of like what I'd look for if I'm closer. I think closer has a really almost never skips camps for early ganks, even in situations like this, which I think is difficult.
It's always, it feels like their dives are always 4th wave, right? Yeah.
Well, if they're that early, because I usually find that they don't really set up dives until after like first recall from jungle is more common.
They had where was it? Where was it? They got a couple early dives off in it was first round of playoffs, first game. They just 3 men dive top on the 4th wave, and then I think they did it like game 3 or something like that too. I don't recall, but yeah, most of the time I would agree they're not like 3 camp ganking. They're not like hard pushing 3 waves mid basing TPing top. Like they're not really doing any of that stuff.
I have a quality concern, and my laptop is constantly fighting YouTube, so it's YouTube doesn't like me. But yeah.
I think that at least from the games that I was scrubbing through, over the past day or so, it feels like they kind of just path top like all the time, and or at least in playoffs. So it's just, this is where I feel like the Ornn is really good for them in mid game, but it leaves me to ask, like, what do they do with their early game?
Mm-hmm. If they're gonna play, so usually the other thing about the Aphelios early pick is not only are you kind of sacrificing bot prio, but because like a lot of times you want these types of like space creating champs, you're either gonna end up with a Renekton or like an Ornn or something that's going to not get prio top as well. So you're putting yourself, if you're trying to play like these front to back comps, you're putting yourself in a situation where, I mean, closer not only should closer get double scuttled, but he should lose camps, right? He should get invaded on. He should get punished way more in the early game for this kind of setup than he does. And his laners should get dove on repeat. Because there's not a lot he can do, that should happen with these types of drafts, Yeah.
It would be somewhat more manageable if his bot lane hit prio and his support can move early, but I mean, I guess he does here,
because that's because bot lane leashed for TL, which
yeah, that's fair.
It's kind of weird,
but yeah, I was watching like some EU Masters and stuff because I was using I forget what game it was. Oh, it was K-Corp games, teaching some Legia kids, and there was this play that King Croft would always go for, which is when they have two lanes of solo prio, like blue team would do here. He would three camp his bot side, and then before going blue, just run directly into enemy jungler's top side, play for his red, play for his Krugs, and they would send the top laner in. The mid would trade all of his mana to be able to push, because right after the invade, he's just going to base and TP back. Like, they just played it so much more aggressive than they did here in this situation. Like, there's just, I feel like there's a little lack of urgency from TL, but at the same time, it's like what options does 100 Thieves have? They're mostly just playing.
Another example where we're investing multiple level 1 wards on top side for Alfari, and this is what we talked about at the start of the stream with Alfari, which was just he crashes his wave, and that's what we get out of doing all of this. And it's very weird because you should just crash your wave anyway. So why are we investing like this much attention to Alfari's lane when we almost never get a good payoff for it? Like, look at this. Like, Sunday is low. We have mid TP. Bot is not, like, Huhi is not recalling to look for cover, which would be normal in like a 3-wave crash scenario like this where you think top is diveable. So what are we realistically getting out of this advantage? It's just so strange watching TL do this. Like, they do this all the time, and then they don't play to punish the advantages they get. You could argue, well, he'll just TP back and he's Ornn and no one cares, but it's like, if you get the TP on an Ornn, that's really nice. So he can't set up like bot play off of that, right? The other thing is, if he goes back top and you're still top, you just dive him again, right? You have Cinder Dimer, you have TP, you have like a lot of stuff like that. So you can realistically still deny waves.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Max Lore would have dived those.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like, it just felt like maybe I would just be interested to hear like their philosophy on like their early game, because it feels like they're just doing the steps, but it feels like they practice the steps like really hard, but maybe they're just lacking some of like that A factor. Maybe it went wrong too many times in scrims or something.
And they do, and it could just be like, it's like, no, I don't have a timer for mid anymore. It's like, well, then,
Yeah, that's true.
gank mid. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
go mid. But the thing is though that like those plays are straightforward if you practice them. So the thing for me is like, because this is you're apparently a Crying fan, so you watch RNG.
Jesus. I'm not getting labeled like this, I guess. Like, guys, man, I was trying to throw the guy a bone, man. Don't poke me on my
the back pedal. So you know that this is the kind of thing they'll do. They'll pick Jace, they'll invest 2 wards top, they'll set up to 4-wave crash, and then they'll dive with support.
Absolutely.
Like they'll get the 3rd wave in, they'll send the support top, they'll send the mid top, they'll do all of this shit, and then that guy's just dead, right? Like that's basically RNG's game plan.
Yeah. And on top of that, they're also happy trading 1 for 1. Like as long as the person loses the wave, like they're willing to just throw themselves at the timer.
You can tell again, this is just something that they practice all the time. When they have limited practice, they just practice perfecting strategies like that. So it's possible to do that, right? It's possible to invest all of that vision and all of that control top and get a huge advantage off of it for Jace. And then Jace stands... The difficulty with playing like a Jace Forest comp into 100 Thieves in this situation is they have so much long range engage. So you have to be very, very smart about in mid game, like your line brush vision, things like that, so that you can stand on the wave and poke them off of it and get prio. Assuming that 100 Thieves are like, yeah, we're going to let you walk into us and we're going to flank engage on you, which that's an assumption after last game. But it's just, again, it's like you can practice these strategies so that they are consistently executable. And I know someone in chat was saying, like, oh, if teams are not practicing, like, stacked wave into dives, then it must not be impactful. It's like, no, they are. The best, it's hard to consistently get all of the pieces to make it happen. You have to invest time into it, you have to practice it, and the top teams do it well. Like, we saw a Damwon VOD review when we didn't VOD review Damwon, but we saw Damwon execute it. We've seen RNG execute it. We see a lot of these teams get like massive advantages off of things like that, but we just don't see it as often with some of the lower tier teams, so you don't see like as much of a snowball effect.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
EG,
absolutely.
apparently Peter is saying EG, so, you know.
Yeah, and that's the thing about so that's the thing about like the 100 Thieves that I will say is a positive in my opinion, was it feels like they understood the opponents that they were playing against pretty well, you know, so that they had different approaches, I feel like, for EG compared to TL compared to C9. You know, like I feel like they approached them in different ways. And, you know, I felt like when they were playing versus EG, 100 Thieves was a lot more aggressive into like diving the side and creating advantage at side. You know, game 1 banning Gnar on the last blue ban to first pick the Renekton in a way, stuff like that. And in this series, I think, I don't want to assume their thoughts, but if I'm putting myself in their shoes, I'm thinking to myself like, Jensen's proactivity and transferring pressure probably isn't their strongest suit. It's more about just like covering off RA's lane. If we can just manage more neutralizers and just play for mid control instead and just attack Jensen, then, you know, we're happy. That's why they would play the Ori into the TF and stuff like that, just because they don't think it's going to hard snowball. But then at the same time, it's like they're not really pressuring mid. Like you said, this is a game where you'd want to like flash for flash mid at like level 3.
And we saw like throughout playoffs, TL did start to do mid dives, right? They started to set up mid dives off of core JJ timers. So they are thinking about it, right?
Okay.
And they're doing that. But the thing is that when we did the TL VOD review, we went over the course of playoffs, and it was like what made them look so good versus the C9 series was that they would set up those mid dives and they would execute them and get them off. But then in our last series versus 100 Thieves, 100 Thieves had a read on them. And so they were like playing to counter them to an extent, like early, at least like off of the four. It was usually like the 4-minute wave when they would do the dive, and by 4-minute again, I'm reminding people when I refer to the 4-minute wave, I mean the wave that is made at 4 minutes. They were looking for those. They were looking, and so they were actually able to counter those in the finals a little bit, and then there would also be like, okay, Jensen is just late on recognizing his TP advantage and saying, okay, I'm going to TP back, we're going to set up this dive play. So there was some signs of life there, but it became predictable, and it was like they had that one thing that they practiced, but they hadn't practiced it enough, and they had prepared it for playoffs, and then they didn't have more dimensions than that. And I think that that's like ultimately why they lost.
True.
So... like they do understand these concepts and they are looking for them, right? So maybe we'll see more from them at Worlds, right? But I do think like timings tend to be really off. That's one of the biggest things. Is just like trigger pull in some of these from some of these top teams is so good. Like the trigger pull, it's like we recognize this is timing. This is the correct window. We're just going, right? Whereas I think there's a lot more hesitation sometimes. Like we saw. Santorin shadowing top where Ornn was like low HP. That's a situation where he's probably thinking like closer path to top, I think. Maybe like he can cover this dive play potentially. But if you're gonna do that, just like run into his jungle and try to find him and fuck him up. Like exactly. That's like you can go as 2 into the jungle and fight him and then maybe set up the next play dive, right? So you're thinking about like these small factors to give you more confidence or to, because that I think that was one of the first things that RNG did in spring was they would use Xiaohu's prio, and if they thought that the jungle was topside, they would just run in and kill him. So Splice, Mad, and EG, the trinity of top teams Peter has worked with. There you go. EG is a top team because they can dive. EG is the Schrodinger's cat of top teams because they're both a top and a bottom team at the same time, since currently they are not competing. Okay. Anyway, I feel like we've had more tangent discussions this VOD than actually watching the game.
So funny? I feel like every time we talk about something, like anytime we get into a call, it's always like 25% what's on the screen, and then it's just like a full-on discussion about other league topics. But yeah, the biggest thing for me was just like I feel like there's just such a clear difference in 100 Thieves when they're allowing Abadage or they're drafting for Abadage to play really aggressively in side lane, and like I said, the Shen LeBlanc was a really good example in playoffs. But I feel like they just need to be able to continue to practice executing pressure through either mid or transferring into bot if they want to pick more of these neutralizers. Because I feel like in general, when they're doing stuff like this and then they're not getting the mid playoff and they just have these like 2 sides that are going to get pushed in, I feel like that's just going to give some Eastern teams just way too much space for the first like 10 minutes of the game.
They're crashing big top wave and recalling. So they're playing for recall there, which again, I don't know why Santorin would have to be top to play for recall unless they're expecting a counter gate from closer, which is possible. So not gonna completely knock it. But I think as Jace with a wave that big, you just like EQ if you're scared and then you're fine.
Yeah, you're totally fine.
So Santorin can even have like gotten recall in, done his wolves, Crux, whatever, right? And then they could have been setting up, if they wanted to play for Drake right now, they could have like set up for bot wave crash and played for Drake or something, like just small things like that.
Or you just play for generally around this timer. You can play for just like a just stack bot wave and then crash bot wave, and then what I call like a 1-1 shift with the guys I work with. It's just, just shifting ball lane into mid and then, mid into top side to control Herald. You can crash at 7:30, shift in, you can just shift support and then have your AD catch. And then you can play for the Herald. You don't even need to pull Drake there because the jungler's also got 5 camps up, or 4 camps up at the time as well.
We are Drake haters on the stream, so it's all good.
Yeah, I'm not. So I haven't been the biggest fan personally recently. I think it's a bit of a tempo killer. So, especially the level I'm at too, where people will take a fight and push a wave and try to take a 6-minute dragon like all in one go before basing.
Oh, so
and then they're wondering why they're just like second on the map for the rest of the laning phase.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the early Drake.
So
I'd always just rather use it for second blue invade or.
So you also watched the first game that we went over on the stream. We talked about the Drakes. I think that's another thing is I'm actually surprised.
Drake is just 10 minutes or something. Average first Drake is like 9.5, 10 minutes or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah. But it was like I actually am surprised by like doing some of these comparisons. I feel like 100 Thieves pros Drake more than like TL, which is surprising to me because I always have kind of memed Drake TLs over Prio on Drake. So is another
this
one
to me feels so odd. Like this to me feels like you get like this is I know I took notes on this play where if they see this guy topside, and especially with this wave coming into Someday here, with the wave coming into Someday and before he's like half HP before the trade, and this guy based on the jungle's original pathing is likely going to be on topside. Why would you not want to get first move here with your prio bot? Be able to play in a bot side. I understand there's no camps up bot side and it's only air Drake, but I feel like just I don't know. Like this is where I'm concerned with 100 Thieves. It's just if they don't have an aggressive outlet top, where do they transfer their pressure? Because to me, this screams mid bot.
They did a lot of like bot dives in regular season and spring too, right? So
so I'm not too well educated on them in spring, to be honest. So
and then so I think, but that's why. And then we had the Shen set up in the bot dive in the first game we watched. But I think the main thing here that is weird is that this like wave you just kill and then you can play for like the thing is that Leo will have like first move, and the fact that they got their bot, I think did TL get the bot wave in at like 7 minutes? We're talking about
it was like 7:30. Yeah, I think they crashed at like 7 minutes maybe.
Well, there's no crash. It just looks like they're.
Oh, what the hell? Oh, what we were saying. Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
what we were saying was like
it,
if he just based instead of covering the top crash, he'd be able to help bot lane crash, and then they could take it back up. Yeah.
Yep. Is what we were saying with Zin, right? And then instead, like we get 100 Thieves are able to get this, should be able to get this bot wave in instead of what they do, which is very strange. They just kind of rotate to set vision. So 100 Thieves can prio this bot wave and send Leona top if they want to play for Rift, I think is what we're kind of arguing. And then what happens instead is that Someday plays like super aggro on this wave.
Yeah.
This is like, I went over why I defended him in the Redacted game. This one is just kind of a question mark.
Yeah, this one doesn't really make much sense, to be honest.
This is fine. Like he can just play to thin this and be vibing.
Maybe if Lee Sin is bot side and ready to like, maybe if Lee Sin was hovering mid and they were able to break out mid and they can 4-man dive bot and he trades top to pulls in, then I could see that being worth it.
It should be hard to dive bot with Varus, but I also think like this to me is like, oh, my jungler's top side, I'm gonna play like a psychopath. So it'll pull my jungler. My jungler let's see, where did they last know? And they know Xin should be bot, like, heading to top here. Regardless. So for me, it's like they kind of want to take this 2v2, which I find a little on the nose, but you have like full combo from Sunday, then it's not bad. So to me, that's what this looks like, is that they want to like force 2v2 with Lisa in top. Rise also gets to the mid wave first, and there's no TPs mid, but Rise has ult. So this tells me that they're trying to like force 3-man top, but Someday takes like too much HP trade. But that's what this looks like, is that they're trying to, like, off of the fact that Abatage got back to lane first, he's saying, like, play volatile, I have ult, you know? And then they play volatile top, but Someday takes like too much HP chunk, and then Closer dies. So that's like kind of what it looks like to me is what's happening. And then off of that, they're hoping to get a kill and secure Rift, which is reasonable. I think at this point, it's hard to set up like bot dive. Varus can clear the wave too easily. And
yeah, if you can't get that with like Rise ult, then
yeah,
I
and
can see that not being good.
Rise has like advantage mid because he got to the wave first and should just be able to like clear it really fast and have a window where he can be top first because he has ult, right? So that's kind of what I was thinking, and I don't think that's a bad plan. It just got fucked because I don't know, they both Closer and Sunday trolled.
Yeah. So I guess I didn't originally think that, because if I'm seeing him trading top, I'm checking bot lane to see what's happening if he's trading top like that, and I didn't really see Leona basing.
And as long as you have eyes on Rel, like Leona doesn't have to base as long as you win 3v3 top.
Yeah, that's true.
Which you don't, but you win 3v2 top, and you can get the window to be 3v2 top. So you just have to make the fast play. Like, yes, the safer, more guaranteed play is Leona gets top, and then they're 4-man top first, right? Which is really nice.
I will say with 100 Thieves, I do think, them having the Rise ult, there was a couple examples throughout playoffs, this playoffs rather, like in multiple series where they were able to like, kind of find themselves in the situation where they're moving second on the map and they don't really have one side hard pushed out, but just because they're able to use Rise ult decisively and aggressively, and Abatage, I would assume, is calling the play, then they're able to just like match enemy move and then just take like a winning fight. I know like having the Rise for them feels really important, just because like they're like Abatage is aggressively able to like pull the trigger and match enemy move and like bring people with. I feel like it's a huge like pressure valve that they kind of need.
It's what we would call like band-aid picks, kind of like the long range engage, having long range engage, having this like thing that can tempo, like catch up tempo for them, like will help a lot of their mid-game issues, right?
Yeah, and it definitely feels like there's an overall systemic issue, which is like they don't really have a hard pressure point in mid-game, and they tend to arrive like second or just try to match the enemy side. But like the band-aid fix, as you said, definitely being like the Rise ult, just being able to match move. I think they had it in like one game where it's like they were losing by like 3K, and then they just matched with like a 3-4 man Rise ult, went like 4 for 2, and just were immediately right back in the game.
But they really want this topside play, which I find interesting because it should be losing for them unless they get like the insanest Ornn combo. The insanest. Don't you like my grammar? It's the best.
It's the bestest.
You're just in time for the last 1/4 of the stream, Lil Thieves.
You usually do these, what, like 4 hours?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Usually do about 4 hours after go to work. At human time. By human time, I mean like non-gamer time, which is awkward because I work for a gaming company, but it is what it is.
I feel that.
You missed the hype, Little Thieves. We're on the shitty part of the stream, unfortunately. So it's
Yeah, I hate being a negative Nancy, but you know, we had to bring it back to reality a little bit.
Even though I feel like I was just ranting at Cole, and he was like, "I just like it when they kill people." I was like, "Yep,
Yeah.
sounds about right."
I really enjoy like different planes of perspective, where, you know, every little community within our community as a whole has like their different like circle of understanding, you know, different terms, different like everything, different priorities and what's being looked at and all that stuff. I think all that's super interesting. Because when you think about it in that way, it's like none of us are like truly looking at the same game.
I like one of my favorites is just talking about what people call the bushes, you know, because almost every team has different names for, like, some of the bush names are really standard, like Pixel, but a lot of people have different names for like the bushes that are around, like the entrances, right, and the bushes that are like behind the red buff. Like those are always kind of fun. So
yeah, definitely.
Ass bush was fun. I remember that was a good one.
This is probably something we could like talk about, but what do you think? Do you think like any of the recent patch changes, like for Worlds, or like any of the meta changes? I haven't really like studied up on it too much, but do you think that's going to be like positive, like a net positive or a net negative for 100 Thieves?
I haven't looked at the Worlds patches yet, so it's like PG patch, and then like I'm still watching PG, and then I'm doing these VOD reviews, so it hasn't been relevant yet. But
yeah, I haven't been doing too much of it either, and it's just you know, a lot of interesting picks coming out apparently.
I like this because they know that, because like as Aphelios, it should be hard to be diveable as long as you have mid prio. I don't know if this TPU is necessary, but I'll take it. Like as long as Lee Sin gets top wave, which we discovered when we were VOD, we discovered like small things VOD reviewing TLs, that they're like allergic to giving waves to jungle. They just let them die to tower, and then Santora continues farming camps. But here we are, closer, getting some waves with the orange DP bot. But
that's brutal.
I like I like that they sent Aphelios. They realized if you have blue guns, you're probably not going to get dove. It's really easy to just kill the wave as long as they're showing mid. So that's okay. And then Sunday saw the angle and TV bot. Alright, so now we're starting to get into scary territory where we must show on the mid wave to contest the Drakes. This song is weirdly fitting for what's on my screen. It's like similar to the clown songs that we listen to sometimes. It's this dragon setup, TL walking in. See, TL have a lot of long range, so it's advantageous for them to be first here, but after the kill happened, that's probably not gonna happen. So they, let's see. Do 100 of these actually have window to retake, though? So they're coming out of base now. Rises. It should just be TL can defend this. I guess it's because they know jungle will be here first. Like, TL should just be able to stand on their vision here. I find this very weird. You even have Syndra TPing back because of the difference. It's just they just don't have anyone on. Oh, it's Varus recalled it. Varus recalled again? What the fuck?
Yeah, tack reset again, and then Santorin's on Crux when the last mid wave's coming in too.
Because Varus just came back out. No?
Yeah.
And then he buys... What does he buy? Oh, he bought boots? Sure.
Bought tier 2 boots and a pink, which, I mean, I don't think it's worth. I don't know.
It's not worth, but...
I don't know if it's a point that you've talked about or not, but I was watching a bit of TL throughout the season just to kind of see what their approach was. And something I noticed was that they were late on specifically top, or not top, jungle AD were like really late on neutral timers.
They're
like, pretty consistently.
Santorin is just consistently late.
Yeah.
He
and
will trade like an extra camp all the time, so yeah.
Yeah.
But this should have been like a setup for them. They control the area. They have Jace, Varus poke. It's harder for 100 Thieves to face check.
Yeah, and I love those situations when you have poke and both neutrals are up, and you're able to get there first, get mid prio. I feel like it's an unlosable situation, because if they just hard commit to one side to try to get a flank angle on you or try to reclaim river vision, you can just immediately pivot into the other side if they're going to try to like hard engage on you.
Really confused as to how 100 Thieves got that, because I was like, what is happening? So I went back, I was like, what? Varus recalled? But yeah, it's a fun time. And now they're probably going to give Rift as well, but that's fine. They should just trade for this turret. Look.
Alrighty.
Miracu, I need you to like at least a player, okay? Other than Concept of X.
Concept of X is not a player; he's a god.
He is a concept. You know.
Amir. Yeah.
He is the he's the form.
He's the myth.
He's the platonic form of top lane.
That's so funny.
What is this? Okay. Let's see. Oh god. Oh god. But this is a situation that's a little bit better for them, right? Because they're here first. And so there's a lot more options for like getting a catch with the Syndra E, creating zones. And then 100 Thieves having to walk into them is nice, right? You're immediately...
Yeah, absolutely.
Now comes Big Varus ulti. Big Varus ulti. Kind of. More like Cinder one shot. So what have we learned today, stream? We've learned that you are first to objective, you know? That's a really basic concept.
If you have poke, you should try to get there first, because you should have the side lane agency to push out and force the enemy to respond so that you can get there first, as long as you set up ahead of time. And if you're the team with hard engage but less side lane pressure, you need to learn how to walk in second, and you need to learn how to preemptively drop certain waves or just catch waves at neutral or set waves to neutral so that you can force as soon as the enemy tries to like contest river. I mean, Core was smurfing on this pick too. To be fair, he played. There was another one too. I'm pretty sure he gets a 4-man engage later this game.
Core is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like 100 Thieves, like, I don't want to focus on Aphelios too much, but it was just really, really clear night and day difference when they had Aphelios with no peel and a comp that wants to fight forward like this, compared to when they had like Ori Braum.
Yep.
It's just like these games for FBI must feel so difficult. Like his shield bow they're
just
yeah, so
and this
gross,
was like setting this up right. They are basically just giving wave here to run in, which I think is sort of the way that they're forced to play, which is again when you have like tanks, champions that can walk in first and look for engage. It's pretty good. Now we have no Ornn ulti. That Leon ult was weird, but it's
like,
whatever.
As soon as you force Varus Flash, you should just walk in a river.
But now you're it's like again they're over chasing right into poke without killing everyone.
Yep. Plus,
in this case it's Jace. In the last game it was Varus. So
yeah. And the Syndra, I felt like in the EG series and this series in particular, the first two series, Syndra was a major thorn in 100 Thieves' side.
Yeah,
like,
Syndra is
such a kryptonite pick against them.
Syndra is the ultimate champion that you can't face check into because E and just like one shot anyone who walks in.
Yeah. And it did such a good job. Like the Syndra in general does such a good job like neutralizing their early game plans as well, you know, just being able to like get prio or just match like skirmishes with TPs on the side lane.
As we like to say on the stream, the most OP ability in the game is Syndra E, so you know it's a good one.
Syndra RE is just so underrated in my opinion. It's like you just casually want a 7-ball stun, just throw it out there. I mean, this is a really nice situation for 100. Actually, never mind. Their top wave is off.
Yeah, they have no top laner. There's top lane is what? No TPs and no ults really. So yeah, except well they have Leon ult, but yeah.
I look at my phone for 2 seconds and then I see that he's dead.
Yeah, it's unlucky. But this is, I guess, this kind of like exemplifies why when 100 Thieves don't get ahead. The way that they play mid game makes it really difficult for them to get back in because they're not making side trades. They're matching on enemy strong side and they're constantly trying to force off of that, which in this game they at least drafted for it, right? But it also means that they are going to do better on like scaling and long range and engage.
Yeah. I just like I know within playoffs like people were talking a lot about like 100 Thieves being the team that was like much better early game versus like all the other teams, and I actually just like rewatching the series. I'll have to watch some of the other teams to kind of get a better understanding of them, but I felt like EG just always had the best early game when in terms of like actual proactivity, especially like these Ornn setups and like these like Aphelio setups. It feels like they were like really neutered in their picks to be able to do a lot of shit early.
See, you're trying to impress Peter Dunn. Okay, I got it. I see.
Yeah, maybe.
We may slightly bully Peter sometimes on this stream. It's not, you know, anything personal. We just, I don't know, hedging has unintentionally become a meme on this stream. So.
Yeah. I believe when I learned it, we're calling it a variable risk. or something along that lines, or the concept of hedging was like linked to variable risk.
Yeah, I just call it IG. So.
IG. I like that. I can get down with that. That's one of the things I try to do is simple callouts. Have the team kind of speak their own language a bit.
So my favorite is like what was referred to as the Doinby play. Was like playing basically 0-3-2, where you hover you hover your top laner and look for that kind of like 2-on-1 play in a side with a timer. Like that kind of thing, my team referred to as the Strumpist, because at their scouting grounds, Strumpist was doing that. So that was the Strumpist. That's my favorite version of those things.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, we are in mid-game again.
And it kind of feels like they're kind of just in the same spot. Both side waves push out to neutral, and Rise, like, I mean, I guess this is like...
Well, at this point they're... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is like, unironically, if 100 Thieves were going to win a fight, it's when both their sides are in neutral, Ornn's grouped, and they have Rizel to be able to, like, reposition a bit. I personally am not the biggest fan of just fighting mid, but...
Well, that's what we're getting.
Yeah.
That is what we're getting today.
Especially when you have a Rise TP, and Jace has no TP, and it's like, it's within 2 minutes of Drake. You could probably get tier 1 instead of grouping mid like that.
They have more Baron threat than TL does, right? So they could have been on top wave and had, even just like an Ornn ult to clear mid if they want, right? Because they're probably... Like, they don't necessarily... Like, the ult will be up before the next Drake, right? They want to get top wave in on this window. Like, this is a good window to get top wave in, so this is, like, good for them. So they should recall after this and go bot.
Yep. And push out bot, absolutely.
Because now they've got, like, their shallow top side wards. They're ahead on the play, so let's see what they do. Come on, 100 Thieves. I believe in you.
You have both your sideways are neutral. You can send 5 through mid.
But do they want to? Because if they send 5 through mid, they don't get mid prio. Varus and Jace outrange them.
That's true. I figured you could just...
I think they want like someone. They wanted someone to use the fact that their side laners were out of base first, and they can push.
Yeah,
they had like someday on bot wave first, so they should have just like hard pushed that. And
ultimately, I would have much rather. I 100% agree. I would have much rather had bot pushed out first, but I mean, considering they were grouping a minute and a half ago mid for no reason. It's pretty safe to say that they're going to go 0-5-0.
Oh no, cause like imagine if someday just like push that wave, you have Rizel, you have Ryze TP, you have all these things, and you don't play directly from mid pro. You just have someone standing on like this pink, on this position right here, and then this lets Aphelios rotate. You have Ornn flank set up. If they walk in, you have Ornn ult behind them. You actually take this favorable fight, as opposed to just like 55 flipping, staring at them with the dragon and letting Jace and Varus poke you the whole time, right? Just imagine that scenario and how much nicer it is. And I'm just depressed. Because they just all went mid instead.
Yeah, you think it would have been better just to go 0-3-2 out of base and then just have the Rise Ornn push outside and then just have Rise ult, Rise ult to Drake or something and then play offline.
Even like have closers skip like the Gromp, because they denied enemy Gromp, and then just like use that tempo, because you had, as soon as someone shows on the top of it, you know that you're ahead. You know that you're ahead, and everyone just allocates into the bot side. They know they have numbers advantage. They can get a good flank angle. They can have Aphelios catch the wave low, and then they just kill them as they walk into the pit. So. TL pulls the Baron. I'm glad that we're watching the replay while this is happening.
Just cannot stand replays. Guys, we're gonna win worlds by looking at this slow motion Syndra Q one more time. That's what's gonna make us better.
Bam.
I probably sound so salty right now. It's just because it's morning and I'm sluggish.
It's morning.
It's morning. Like there's gamer morning and then there's like adult morning, you know? And when I set my alarm for 6:45 in the morning for League of Legends, you know it's an adult morning.
Yeah,
but I'm a bit of a crank in the morning, and it takes me a few hours.
I understand that most people that replays are not for me. I am not the target audience of replays, so I kind of just accept that they exist. But what I would like is for them to play like almost immediately after the fight. And I get that probably the lag time comes from like the observer pulling the replay, but if they play them immediately after it happens, then all I'm missing is, oh, they pushed out and recalled, right? As opposed to when they do play it, which is when they're getting back out on the map again, and then I'm just like, why am I watching it now? I'd rather see how they're playing, right?
They're reclaiming a quadrant, they're sweeping flank wards, and then it's like you have to go in pro view, and then you have to do the map, and then the individual. It's so annoying. I would pay $15 a month just to have
no
this
replays.
this speed, no replays. Yeah. I've said it multiple times on Twitter, but I'd pay monthly just to have same feed, no extra shit needed, just no replays.
I just want them to change the timing of the replay if possible. If not, I get it. It's fine, and I'll pay for. I already pay for ProView. It's whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah.
ProView.
Loki drives me nuts that I can't watch.
I really wish we could watch the game in client the way you can in Dota, because that would be sick. And unfortunately, I keep saying this, and that will never happen. So it's fine.
That'd be amazing.
If Riot really thinks that their game is gonna last 30 years, they should redo the client. That's all I'm saying. That's all. It's fine.
Yeah.
But it feels like they don't actually believe that because they're not. I'm good.
I like my ROPL files crashing when it's Ocean Soul, just because it's Ocean Soul and there's a memory leak. You know, for the past that's been going on for like 2-3 years.
To end the stream on a positive note, because I have like 20 more minutes.
Yeah.
Let's watch like the best 100 Thieves early game that you can think of.
I would say it's probably game 1 versus EG.
Ooh, okay.
If my notes, so game 1 EG was like they get good dives, they get first support move on a Herald, they get funneled first turret on Aphelios, but then this is a comp where they have, I think they lose this game, so I'm pretty sure, or no, I think they come back and win this game, but they throw their lead quite hard. They have an Aphelios with no peel. And this is where I think like EG's planning in particular, like I was really impressed with EG's planning for the series. I really liked their picks, and I felt like they were clearly trying to like attack FBI. And I feel like Aphelios got shut down in terms of approach very well this game, but 100 Thieves just played the early transferring pressure into one another. They played it well early.
Yeah, we'll do that then as I wait for the video to load, because why not?
Yeah.
Enough complaining. We're bringing back the hopium, guys. Let's go.
I'm not a league purist by any means, but I will grumble at things, that is for sure.
I don't even know what a purist is. I may be one. So. Yeah, EG best team in the second best team in NA because we almost beat 100 Thieves. Is this how this goes? All right. We've got...
It's an R5 Ash.
Mm-hmm. It is indeed. We've got Orin into Renekton. Reasonable. Cinderize. Lee Sin into Leona. Lee Sin, Leona into Renekton first pick. With Viego open. So expectation is they're gonna pick Rise and Cinder on R3 to counter. So need to play for 2v2 mid. And bottling Prio. But we do have Nasser. Oh look, it's Peter and Connor. Coincidentally. Alright, we're ending on this. So generally,
Yeah, I know we're... Go ahead.
Generally speaking, right, what I'm looking for here from 100 Thieves is just playing around with the fact that they're gonna look 3 camp mid, trying to either counter that by playing the 2v2 better, or just, you know, having Rise play safe, give them a window, but make sure that I'm getting my wave in top as Renekton really early, so that they can't dive. Like, I want a 3-wave crash, if possible. They'll probably look... They might look bot, though. Ash. Theoretically, that would be kind of my assumption. Knowing more about EG, I'd say they're probably not going to look bot. They'll probably just make a play off of mid if they get bot prio. So they'll look for, like, if Leona gets prio, then they might look for, like, a dive mid off of that. So as Rise, I'm going to go C-pot start, which I did, and spam the wave so that it's not a play. Okay. Starting point. I like how I've just given up talking about level 1s, because there's like only version of level 1 we really see is like if they have Braum, they try to find mid top. Okay.
That's about it, yeah.
I don't know. I encourage everyone to watch Beyond Gaming, because they're so much fun. Beyond Gaming and PSG. So I'm looking forward to the PSG review. BYG versus LNG, that's the goal. Okay. Danny just out of them. I'm fine. I'm fine. It's good. We're okay. Alright. So time to send the clothing company to where it belongs. My god. Okay. Right. So We're not seeing any mid plays yet because we didn't get the wave in as EG, which is unfortunate. Chizuke really low mana.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't just base.
Because they wanted to set up a play on this. And he had a corrupting stack left.
Yeah.
So they could have played off of that. But
I know when
Monarchs is looking for crap here. And then they get their window top. I don't think... Like, Impact should be able to play for this and not die.
Yeah, they just pull the TP. And they just play out.
And get the wave. Okay, I mean, this is all fine. But I think this could have gone a lot better for EEG, right? If they set up recall and then play off of midwave with contracts, then this should not be a dive window because they should win like the super early 2v2 unless closer rise play to outplay this. So that shouldn't have been a window that was there. I like that they pulled a TP though, so that's something now we can see how they play off of this, like after this. What is your opinion on LNG 3-0ers? I'm sorry that my chat just keeps like regaling you with my stream specific memes, but this is what's happening.
I like Tarzan.
This is unfortunate. Okay.
There you go. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, my chat just predicts LNG 3-0 even if LNG is not playing, so. Which is why they actually did better in the playoffs bracket than I did, because
you can put me at the bottom of any list you want. I will sleep no different.
Apparently it's not a great accomplishment to be tier listed as a strong Kelsey stream guest by my chat, so I can accept that. Not being a sought after accomplishment. Okay.
Bring all the pitchforks, I want all the smoke.
Unfortunately, this is just, I'm not even going to comment on how this is played. I feel awkward commenting on how this was played. Okay, here we go. So far I've kind of avoided talking about games against EG because I've already seen them. Here we go. So Impact did get, I want to see this dive setup instead of commenting on how the 2v2 is executed in bot. Okay. So got wave in top off of this play, plus we pulled the TP. So now we have a free recall. Rise TP's mid. And make sure to not give Syndra window. And then they engage off of this.
This to me feels so troll to fight bot, in my opinion. Like, you're going to be able to get the wave push out. I feel like they're stepping up for that because they saw Lee
like, the thing is they can fight bot and win the bot trade. And then and then they have Impact recalling on Prio. So this is like not the end of the world to fight this. This 2v2 trade should have gone better for them, right? And then Impact TP's in. We have an engage.
You're talking about EG, yeah?
Yeah, I thought. Oh, so you're saying it feels troll to fight bot as 100? Okay.
Yeah. So now this is. I will say just like disclaimer. Like.
Yeah.
I generally like the way I've been thinking about the game the past like year or two is I tend to think more like big picture, less just like understand viewers that my job is to like get amateur and collegiate players like onto the same page. And sometimes you're going to forego some details in order to get the players to identify things a bit more consistently. So I might be just missing some nuances here in that situation, but to me, they see Lee on top Krugs, and that's when Huhi steps up to take that trade because they have that info. and they know their jungler's bot side. So regardless what happens with the wave on the push out or how the trade goes, they can crash the wave safely. Now, my problem with that is that with top wave crashing, they can build a slow stack back into Ornn, and with there being no mid TPs, and they're going to have first move from Nautilus, they're going to be able to go mid, break out the Rise, and then they should be able to 3-man top. So like, I feel like the bot play is like okay for 100 Thieves because logically you see the junglers are favorable for you, but it's just like I feel like there's a bigger play there.
My issue is that you have like a Ornn prio with TP, plus it should be a winning trade for EG's bot lane. So it should be a winning trade for EG's bot lane. Plus you have Ornn TP, which is like really good flank angle. So I just see it doesn't matter if the jungle is bot side unless he's like immediately showing on the TP. This should be like a huge chunk off on 100 Thieves. And then you have Ornn TP into flank. If you pull the Renekton TP, it's good because Renekton isn't doing this, right? So Renekton should stay top and middle this wave. The only reason why Renekton matches is because look at how low Danny gets. So, but this scenario, that part of the scenario shouldn't occur. So Ornn should TP here, and then look for the fact that these guys are playing super far up on his timer. I like that Abadage ATB makes it prevents that play, so theoretically he can match here, but this should be kind of like over to an extent and way more of a favorable bot 2v2 trade for EG, which should allow this to work out. But I think like them having this confidence that they're just gonna win the 2v2 bot trade and then Huhi expending flash, all of that was great. So like 100 Thieves bot played that 2v2 well, and then they had a lot of these components set up. I don't think Renekton had to contribute TP. That was kind of weird. But for me, it's like both of these I can see, but it was contingent on how the bot 2v2 went as to whether or not it would be EG favored, in my opinion.
That's fair. I just feel like, I guess the TLDR of my argument is just like, I understand like the conditions, like I understand the conditions of why they pull, like why 100 Thieves pull. I just feel like prioing a move timer into mid and then shifting that into top side, like would have been.
Yeah, I mean, ideally,
it would have been a better approach for your comp, in my opinion.
I think it's good, but at the same time, it's like Ornn setting up a dive on Ornn is not really a consistent play, especially if.
Yeah, that's true. You could also set up a dive on mid though if you're breaking out your support. You know,
that's what I thought that they were going to do, and that's why Rise TP back mid. I mean, it's just hard to dive either Syndra or Ornn past a certain point because it's a lot easier for them to clear the wave. I think now we're not quite that way on mid yet, because we just have tier corrupting. But it's like for me, it's okay. Like I can see this. I think they can look for a mid play. I agree with that. I think so. That's why I'm going. The reason I'm going back here to before the dive. Just want to see like exactly the moment Ornn recalls. So Ornn recalls here. Now, if we're setting up a dive play, we're setting it up for like the 530 mid cannon, and that's where Ornn can like just play like super aggro for 6, and then ults to clear the wave on that timer. So it would be hard to set up that dive, right?
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
But yeah, and this play could have gone better. If the 2v2 had gone better for EG, even though it is technically like 4v3. So that's where I see the angle. But at the same time, like I like that 100 Thieves are saying, yeah, we're gonna use not ult, and I'm just gonna show this again, even though we've seen it like a million times now. I like that they said, you know, I'm gonna flash on him. And I'm going to auto. Like, Danny walking forward like this is very strange. Like, if he just auto attacks Huhi here and gets him low, it's better, right? Because he's mispositioned like this. But instead, he walks forward to auto FBI. And then Huhi flashes on him and auto. That's all great. Like, them saying, conceptually, we're going to play the 2v2 better. We're going to be the better bot lane. And then setting up this 4-man off of the fact that Rise CP and made sure that there's no window on mid. all of that is great. Like, I like that a lot. It's riskier, yeah, but I like that mentality, and I wish there was more of that, like, kind of thought process.
Yeah, that's fair.
In NA, if that makes sense.
No, it totally does.
All right. Well, that was kind of the early game. I am gonna say goodbye to everyone. We've covered in 20 minutes. We've covered 4 minutes of game. Yeah, I think we covered like 5 minutes of a game in this past few. So this is a long one, but I think part of the reason for that is that I'm more familiar with these teams, so it's more of a discussion. But I had a good time. Thanks Zoo for coming on, and thanks to Cole if he checks this for setting us up for some hopium. I do like that 100 Thieves has like certain plans in mind. Like they generally recognize like the early game plans they want to make. I know this review was like pretty negative, but there are a lot of positive things to highlight and say about 100 Thieves. I like the kind of moxie they have, where they want to fight you at every turn, and they have like the talent to do that. So I think that's pretty cool. I think their bot laning is probably like one of the most promising bot lanes just for the 2v2 lane itself that we've sent to Worlds in years, because bot laning is always consistently tragically bad. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do, and when we get to the listing at the end of all of these VOD reviews, it'll be fun.
Yeah, I think if 100 Thieves can just take their early game aggression, like that confidence that they have and their ability to make plays like we just saw there, if they can take that and concentrate that into their lane assignments in mid game and just be like ready for, fast pulls and quick picks and be confident pushing out a side as 2 or 3 and being able to fight for it, then I think they'll be pretty scary.
I think their early game plans can be like a little bit more well set up. Like there's some times where I think Closer is not kind of in tune with what side of the map he should be on to help his laners get their waves in. But like his recalls in general are better than like Santorans and Labbers usually.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I think they can also vary a little bit of their early game pathing a bit, because I think that they have a weird tendency to like, always full clear on the first rotation, which is kind of predictable and easy to counter. But anyway, sounds good. Yay! I said we should end on a positive note, and then I just started shitting on them. Okay. Yes! 100 Thieves to the Moon! Buy hoodies. Have a good day, everyone.